This is Sybert signing in to Kane's Wrath on the map Tournament Rift for game number 1 of Group B for Chrono Clash II. Kicking it off on the left side, playing the black hand, this is Futurama.
And on the right-hand side, playing as the purple Scrin, we of course have Rex.
He tricked you with the coloring there. He's actually blue on my screen, but that actually makes me wonder, do you have him recolored to purple?
I have him as purple, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're actually having fun because we're both running Battle Scry, of course, made by Double Evil. And that means we can recolor players independently. So Futurama is cyan and Rex is blue on my screen, but I guess purple on your screen. But of course, welcome to Zad's, one of the other Command & Conquer Kane's Wrath commentators here. You've been covering some of Chrono Clash, so big thanks to you for that. And if you want to see some more Zads, he will be linked in the description as well. But of course, Chrono Clash is sponsored by Chronosphere, and Chronosphere wants you to know that behind every smooth app or site you use, there are teams of developers and operators working to keep those systems fast, reliable, and running around the clock. Chronosphere helps those teams by giving them a real-time view into how systems are behaving at scale across hundreds of services, clusters, containers, and clouds. And Chronosphere gives teams control over what they see, what they spend, and what they solve. So go ahead and check them out at chronosphere.io or scan the QR code on the screen. All right, we have no descent rushes, which means we got through the whole opening spiel without any major action. This is Tournament Rift. So the fun fact is there are 4 Tiberium spikes, but 2 of them are poker spikes, and some players hate that, and that's why they prefer Tiberium Rift, the twisted version of Tournament Rift, and other players have managed to deal with it. For the current moment, it is even Steven, it is equal between the Tiberium spikes of these 2 players.
But what isn't equal on this current map is Rex actually taking the initiative and grabbing the blue Tiberium from the very middle, and Futurama not putting up really much pressure. Like, he's just EQing, doing a very standard build order, and it's Rex who's in control.
Refinery at the natural expansion. Rex may have that blue Tiberium. He may be equaling out the harvester and the refinery counts. So it's going to be up to Futurama to not only push back these secret tanks at the natural expansion, but then to do something to Rex. Double Shredder turret coming in. 1 Scorpion tank, but a second will soon be here. Actually, that first Scorpion tank so close to death, but not going down yet. Harvester down to about half health, and there's going to go the last Seeker tank, and the Gunwalker falls as well. So Rex getting a bit of damage done, but nothing really to write home about these first couple of minutes.
Great defense from Futurama, and as we can see here, he's going right back into more economy and actually starting to produce some infantry, which is, of course, the main units you want to go for if you are the Black Hand player. However, Rex, on the other hand side of the map, has teched up himself. He's on the tier 2, the nerve center, mainly, and it seems like he's omitting going for the tech center, the tier 3 building, which is kind of not usual. Screen players tend to want to go for tier 3. He is opting to actually delay it quite a bit, which might end up biting him in the later stages of the game.
We shall see, but props to Futurama for staying pretty close to even. He is, of course, a little bit behind in the eco, but he's staying pretty close to even with a Scrin player who also stole the blue Tiberium. So Futurama macroing quite well in both of these players. They've had their early skirmishes, but it looks like they're just happy to play this one out pretty stock standard, and they're happy to head for the late game. No early rushes here.
Very chill game so far. We're not seeing any flame tanks, but we are seeing a second MCV from Futurama coming in the top of the map here. He's going to be chasing down the middle field, which is, of course, going to be the pinnacle point of this map. This is what you want to focus on. It is the main Tiberium that's in the middle. It's super contested, and really whoever gets it and is able to get away with it will win the game. We actually do see some flame tanks on the map too.
There was a little bit of a tussle between some Scorpion tanks and a charged up Dev tank in the north. The charged up Dev tank ended up winning. So you're right, we do have the flame tanks. The secret shrine was sold off before Purifying Flame was upgraded. I count at least 3 flame tanks, but also the Black Disciples mean that every infantry squad has a little bit of flame power as well. So Futurama, he heads towards the middle of the map, and Rex is going to need to stop that sooner or later.
Rex's spike falls in the bottom from this single Cabal in the garrison structure, which got the flame upgrade. Those are really super powerful and very annoying to deal with, to be honest. And we do see Futurama also grabbing the blue Tiberium as well for the second time, which is amazing for him as well. But at the same time, we do see Rex coming in with a massive force, a few gunwalkers, a few tripods, and mainly the artillery of Scrin. The Devastator warships are also on their way to contest the middle field.
But he sent the harvesters early. There's 4 or 5 harvesters just taking a little bit of damage, a couple of them down to about half health. So those 6 harvesters that were sent in early, we'll see if they actually survive. Flame tanks have crossed the map. A couple of them are making their way towards the base of Rex, while Rex puts on pressure at the third of Futurama. Futurama deploys the laser fence. He is here to stay. He wants to fight this one out. Mantis is coming to the front line, but for now, the tripods are unopposed on the ground. Flame tank is actually on the natural expansion. He's just pushing right past pretty much everything. He has been spotted by the charged up Dev tank, so that one flame tank will be going down before getting much of anything. Half the health bar off of that nerve center, and this map is quickly turning into chaos. It is devolving as these attacks get split up across the north and the south. Rex and Futurama, they have not had a big clash between the armies. Instead, it's little tiny skirmishes seemingly everywhere all at once as a second flame tank goes down, and the nerve center still survives with just a bit of HP.
Yeah, and Futurama actually getting pushed off the middle field. The Devastator's taking a ton of damage onto that infantry and really securing the win in the top field for Rex. He's even dropping a second refinery here. That's a lot of economy. Really bold second refinery drop from Rex, really. And we do see him building up the tripod numbers as well. Futurama is starting to look a little shaky. He's going for a basically infantry all-in at this point, as we can see him building up the forces in the top of the map. But these infantry need to do a lot against so many Devastator warships.
The 3 flame tanks have amounted to nothing. We'll see if the man spam transition that you referenced ends up doing better, but I gotta point it out. If those flame tanks had Purifying Flame, they would have actually gotten more kills. But as it stands, the nerve center survived. It is low power mode for Rex, but he only lost a war factory to 3 flame tanks, and now he is repositioning his tripods at the natural expansion. He even gets the blue Tiberium harvester.
So many gunwalkers in the mix. Now the Mantis taking out some of the Devastators. 2 of them almost go down. 1 of them does go down, and finally the second one does follow. So we do see 2 Devastators falling, but it's not enough. They're still free on the map, and there's so many gunwalkers. There's simply not enough infantry to contest this many units. And now the Mantis have gotten completely peeled off, and that means it's game over. Futurama not able to hold the line against the Scrin Armada.
I was wondering what Futurama's plan was there to try and hold the end of the game, and the answer, there was no plan. So Rex marches across the map, and ultimately Futurama looked like he was building up to something great, and then nothing ended up happening. Rex with an early win in game number 1. And game 2 will bring us to the glass-topped tournament Undergrounds for yet another Scrin vs. Black Hand. Rex is feeling good after his game number 1 win, and Futurama, I have to imagine, is feeling a little bit shaky. And I'm terribly interested that Futurama chose Tournament Undergrounds as game number 2. Of course, the first map is preset, so I get to choose game number 1's map. And then the loser picks after that. So Futurama, he goes, you know what? I'm going to stick with Black Hand, but I'm going to Tournament Undergrounds. Not a map we see very often.
Yeah. On the left-hand side, we of course see Rex playing as the purple Scrin, and in the bottom right, Futurama once again on the cyan Black Hand. And so far in the game, we do see an early Gunwalker. So Rex, kind of going for an early scout, is really wary of Futurama still, despite winning that game.
You see what I see? That is a nerve center from Rex immediately. So he skips the second refinery. He goes nerve center and directly into the portal. He's got the upgraded power plant now that his MCV is on the move. But this is something that Futurama is going to want to see as soon as possible. But Futurama doesn't have eyes. Oh, he does actually. He has a leftover vision from his scout. He sees the drone ship on the move.
But does he pay any attention? Because his MCV is just on the expansion right now. There's nothing happening in Futurama's base. He would be dropping like a barracks or something to try and defend this, but it seems like he hasn't paid any attention to his scouting, and he doesn't see the drone ship coming at all. This is massive for Rex.
I guess the nice thing for Futurama is that Rex can't actually prep any photon cannons back at home because he only has one MCV. So the dev tanks are going to show up right on the doorstep of Futurama, but he will have a few seconds before the first photon cannon deploys.
Futurama going to start scrambling now. Yeah, his MCV instantly deployed, instantly going for a defensive turret here, and Scorpions are on the map. There's already a dev tank on his field and a second one to follow up as well.
All right, the charged shots are landing. First Harvester taking half of its health immediately, and the laser turret is up. It is going to be a couple of rockets coming out for Futurama. Rex wants to make this a fast and furious game here in match number 2. Second Harvester taking a lot of damage. Now, behind the scenes, Rex only has 2 Harvesters to support this build, and Futurama got himself 2 Tiberium spikes. So there's the first photon cannon. You deploy the portal back at home so you can get the photon cannon here on the front line. So Futurama, if he can survive this, the game is almost won on the economy alone, but the key is survival.
Yeah, he has to draft a refinery here to try and hold this push at any cost. Double barracks coming down from Futurama as well with the infantry upgrade on the way, but Rex has his MCV here, he has the buzzer hives, and he has the Devour tanks. Another Harvester taking so much damage now in red health.
All right, MCV cell from Futurama. Rex has deployed the War Factory onto the front line with the Corruptors here. He does have additional repairs. It's a lot of rockets here from Futurama. Can he break this once and for all? It's a best of 5, but you don't want to drop down 0-2. Dev tanks just don't do very much versus rockets, and Black Hand has been entered into the game because this MCV isn't going to last long versus the flames of Nod. Buzzer Swarm support power gets called in, and they're tearing through the rockets, but not fast enough as the MCV goes down. The dev tanks are all that stands for Rex to try and win this game. It's do or die here in game number 2. A rush can result in a quick 1-1 score for Futurama as the GG gets called, and Futu gets the point. 1-1 in game number 2.
Rex just try to play that map in his favor, try to play it underground, close spawns, went for a rush, but miscalculated, didn't realize that the all-in 40 Futurama Black Hand player here is going to come in and just decimate him with so much infantry.
And game 3 takes us to Atacama Road, an incredibly aesthetically pleasing map here, but for a switch up, Futurama decides, you know what? I don't believe in Black Hand anymore. He switches it up, and he switches it to Travelers playing Cyan. This is Future.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, playing as the Purple Traveler now, not Scrin anymore. This, of course, is the winner of the last game, tying up the score, the Purple Traveler, Rex.
Rex going for the rush on Tournament Undergrounds and being punished by Futurama, but it does mean that we have a 1-1 series on our hands. It's a best of 5, and it is not going to be decided in a clean 3-0, which is good because some of the early games of the group stage, you know, you get some of those mismatches, really top-level players versus not-so-top-level players. There is an element of randomness, especially in the first round, who you get get paired up against. So it's good to see that Rex versus Futurama isn't going to be a blowout, isn't going to be a 3-0.
Yeah, Futurama on the Disintegrator rush here, bouncing one back right at Rex, rushing him instead. This time around, we of course see, I believe it is 6 Disintegrator squads with fast legs, as he is Traveler in the right-hand side of the map. Rex did scout it, he promptly made the 2 Gunwalkers for it, but the Disins don't go in.
And that's good for Futurama. He doesn't throw them away trying to get something. It is always nice when you can get the early kill on your opponent's Tiberium Spike, especially in a map that has 2 Tiberium Spikes. If you can knock one of them down for your opponent, then you can create a little bit of an advantage there. But I'm always a fan of holding those Disintegrators for the natural expansion and trying to get some damage there. You don't have to commit them in, even though it has been spotted. You don't have to throw them away right in the first 2 minutes.
He's wrapping around now with those Descents and striking from the other side.
Ooh.
Rex is unprepared. Gunwalker's out of position. Second Buzzer Hive does go down, and it does ward Futurama off from diving in for the Harves.
That low power mode saved Futurama's Descents there.
Would be real trouble for Rex if he kept it on, but thankfully he is able to go full power with a third power plant. Very weird play, but guess it was necessary in this circumstance.
Yeah, but Futurama, he would have lost a huge chunk of those Disintegrators if that Buzzer Hive hadn't gone low power. There was another moment here. Is Futurama going to be able to catch the MCV right as it deploys? No, it deploys far enough away. Okay, he will get out of that high damage mode just before the Disintegrators show up. They will get a little bit of damage on that MCV, but okay, we're kind of 3.5 minutes in, and I feel like things are about to even up. Rex has had the economic advantage up to this point, but honestly, I don't know that there's going to be much of a difference moving forward.
Futurama just trying to be super annoying with those Descents, like trying to go in for the spikes, going around, going for the Harves, going for the MCV, ultimately not getting anything, but he does get one thing, and that is map control. And with it, he's going to be getting the blue tip right in the middle of the map.
And I guess he's going to need it, because I thought Futurama was just going into a straight-up macro game after this, but it turns out he's not. He dropped a portal at the natural expansion. He got even more Disintegrators, and he delayed his third refinery by so much more. He is now at an equal harvester count with Rex, so they have evened up in that case, but Rex has been ahead on economy this whole time, so killing this Tib Spike is a nice way to even things up for Futurama.
Rex still on the slow leg Descents. He, of course, did not go for the rush, so he didn't get the fast leg upgrade, and he's only getting it now. So he's actually not able to catch up to those Disintegrators of Futurama, who is being super annoying once more, and he's just going straight for the second spike.
That's so cute. He managed to skate around the slower Disintegrators, but they will finally catch up with their brethren, and they will be able to eliminate them. Oh, he's actually gonna... He gets both spikes! Even though the Descents were on top of his forces, he gets both spikes. However, Futurama will not get the Harvesters at the natural. There are more than enough Gunwalkers to shut down that second wave of Disintegrators, but... Zads, there is a third wave of Disintegrators. Futurama loves his Descents this game.
It almost feels like he's playing Black Hand as Traveler. He's sending these groups of Descents as if they were flame tanks, just all across the map, trying to catch Rex sleeping on the job. And so far, he's gotten 2 spikes for it, so it is working.
Long term, that is going to pay dividends. We have a little bit of a Descent fight on the right side of the map. 4 Gunwalkers showing up for Futurama will tip things into his favor, so he will at least win that fight. Futurama has been losing some of the other fights around the map. He will also drop a lightning spike at Rex's natural expansion, which gives him quite a bit of vision of the natural expansion and also does that little bit of extra damage to the Harvesters. So if it's not dealt with, eventually he'll get a kill, but Rex deals with it there. Cultists now out for Rex.
Nice small push coming in from Futurama. It really is not going to do any damage to 2 Buzzer Hives here on the right, but it's just being super annoying. It's getting nice map information for the Cyan play, of course. And so far, it's going pretty swimmingly, although now we see Rex trying to retaliate by killing one of Futurama's spikes in the top left.
Yeah, this game just turning into a little tiny attacks all over the place. There were Disintegrators in the middle of the map that got wiped out by a Buzzer Swarm. Now the Disintegrators on the left side getting wiped out by a Buzzer Swarm support power. Gunwalkers in the main base and the natural expansion of Rex. Futurama trying to open up more spaces to attack. And the map is just sort of turning into chaos. The Tiberium Spike on the left being threatened, but at the same time, Cultists trying to move in towards the natural expansion of Futurama. They see even the Warp Chasm with the Eradicator Hexapod on the way. This game is just turning into chaos. It's a knife fight everywhere you go, but it's plastic knives. It takes forever for any of these units to kill anything. They're just endlessly shooting at each other, but hardly anything actually dies. Disintegrators rushing into the natural expansion of Rex. Has Futurama finally found the damage that he's looking for? Undefended Harvesters. The Buzzer Hive is so far away. One Harvester goes down, and now the Buzzers getting close up with those Disintegrators. They can't save the second Harvester, but they can herald the birth of the Eradicator Hexapod.
Both players have their epic units out now on the map. Futurama going for, it seems like, Devastator worships himself. And we see both players really mirroring each other in their strategies. I mean, identically expanding, identically going for the same units, which it makes sense because this, of course, is a mirror matchup. We cannot forget this. They're both playing the same exact faction.
Futurama switching it up for the Black Hand into the Traveler, whereas Rex, he's a player who I always identify with the Scrin factions. So if Rex loses a game with a non-Scrin faction, I always sort of expect that he's going to go over to a comfort Scrin faction. But yeah, in this case, it's kind of Futurama that's doing that, that's going for that Scrin comfort. Third base for Rex was, you know, kind of under threat by these Gunwalkers, but not really, because there is an Eradicator Hexapod there. We also enter the weird stage of the game where we've had all of these teeny tiny fights, and now both players have the tech to have Prodigies on the map, and they both do have Prodigies, so at any moment, anything could be captured, sold off, switch sides, be turned against someone else. It is just going to be chaos, I think, from here on out.
There is, however, one difference between the two players, and that is Futurama has actually made a second MCV, and he has the gravity stabilizer to rebuild another one if he so desires. However, Rex does not. He doesn't have a crane, he doesn't have a gravity stabilizer. If his MCV gets captured or wormholed by the enemy player, he might be out of the game.
Ooh, and the Lightning Spike goes down over at the third base of Rex. That could be for Vision to try and do something sneaky a little bit later, and the Prodigy gets sniped. The Buzzer Hive gets called in. The MCV flies into the air for just a second, and it's all while Futurama is putting on an attack at the main base of Rex. This is largely abandoned, but it's going to be a bit of a fight between the Eradicators. The tripods of Rex trying to close the distance, get the EMP, lock down that Eradicator of Futurama and seal the deal. Couple of shock troopers coming in. They go for the blink forward, but it's not enough. The DPS is too high from the side of Rex. He annihilates that Eradicator, and he gets the shock troopers as well.
Not all is lost, however, for Futurama. He still has a ton of units. He has rebuilt his Prodigy, so he's on the back foot without his epic unit. However, he's still very much in the game, and it seems like it's actually Rex more so on the defensive side. We see a Temporal actually coming down from Futurama. His units streaming in, trying to TP in the tripod from his own units, but no, it fails. The teleportation fails on the tripod. He's not able to get the EMP.
Rex just stomped all over Futurama's Prodigy, who kind of teleported himself into harm's way at too close of a distance to get the EMP. There's the phase as Rex saves his Eradicator from the damage of the tripods, but of course phase doesn't last forever, so as long as these tripods can stay in close proximity, they can eventually kill this. There's the answer. It's going to be the Cultists brought to the front line. One tripod switches sides as Futurama snipes the Cultist. He gains back control of his tripod. It is a messy fight here in the south of Atacama Road, and for now, Futurama is going to call off the attack. There's too many reinforcements for Rex, and the blink away of one tripod means the Prodigy is back out on the field. I think the third Prodigy for Futurama.
Futurama also going for his own Hexapod, once again rebuilding that. However, Rex does, of course, have his on one veteran. See, that's a veteran Hexapod right there, which could get dangerous in theory, and we do see Rex keeping that MCV in, so he's going to be ready for the base push with that Hexapod.
The double drone ship early from Futurama that you referenced, it actually hasn't gotten him very much at all. I thought that was going to be more of a key point, but it really hasn't amounted to much. All right, there's the blink forward. Area mind control on a couple of the tripods. Futurama manages to gain that advantage, and also this is so many shock troopers that he's actually overwhelming Rex's Eradicator. Forces it to blink away, forces him to take it off of the front line, and there's the area mind control expiring there, but the tripods have already done their job. Area mind control going to be turning a couple of shock troopers against Futurama, but there's the blink forward from the Eradicator, and it is one lonely drone ship out here on the front line, placing down buzzer hives to try to survive as long as possible, but it's an all-out retreat called for Rex, and he does manage to blink away that drone ship. Not actually that far. He really just blinked it over the chasm there as he manages to escape. Ooh, there are two fresh tripod husks on the front line for Futurama to grab.
Super scary here for Rex because he needed that TP. That cultist could actually grab this MCV when it flies up into the air. Without that teleportation, on the split-second timing, he could have lost this drone ship and had no ability to rebuild because he still doesn't have a gravity stabilizer or anything else to speak of to be able to rebuild that MCV. Tripod getting area mind control TP'd in. A little bit of a snag here from Rex coming in. The Hexapod now under fire though, and it doesn't have a lot of health. One Corruptor healing it up. The tripod falls for Futurama. There's so many units, cultists here as well, ready to grab a tripod from Rex.
This is a messy fight as it's going to be Futurama committing everything in. That's now an elite Eradicator onto the front line. Buzzer hives being deployed, and it's Cultist v Cultist, Mind Control v Mind Control, and Futurama led with his Cultists, so most of them have been eliminated. He's got now an incredibly small force. The EMP from the briefly mind-controlled tripod locks down the Eradicator of Futurama, and Rex is getting away with murder here. He should have lost that fight, and yet he has been turning it into a close back and forth. The mind control absolutely devastating to the forces of Futurama, and this fight spreading out across the map as Rex tries to save his drone ship. He has fewer and fewer forces. Ravagers being called in to try and delete some of these shock troopers, but it just won't be enough. There's the sell-off there as Futurama kills the drone ship, and he will... No, he won't get the kill on the Eradicator with one single bar of health left. He gets phased, and it's fully heroic, so it will heal back up. It'll be ready for another fight. The EMP lands. Is Rex gonna turn this around? Buster Swarm gets called in, another tripod goes down, and it's gonna be the infantry saving the day for Futurama. This fight just never ends as Futurama on the cusp of defeat, but Rex also on the cusp of defeat. Both players with almost nothing left, and there's going to be a fully heroic Eradicator going down. The tripod husks on the ground. Both players lose their epics. It's a reset of the forces, and the ground army is on the Rex side. GG gets called as Futurama loses the extended fight and taps out.
What a messy game for both of those Traveler players. What I want to point out, though, which is a little bit funny, is Futurama was the player who went for the double MCV, and yet he was the one using his MCVs the least compared to Rex.
For the map choice, Futurama goes with Badlands Hills, which is a relatively new map, but one that I am glad to see here yet again. And we do have a switch up once again. We are back to the original match with Futurama playing Blackhand and Rex playing Scrin. So Futurama has his fun with a little bit of Traveler 59 action and then says, you know what, no, I do like Blackhand better. And he goes back to our starting matchup.
We do see, of course, Futurama going for that scouting buggy. He's still pretty wary about Rex having any sort of descent rushes, considering last game there was a lot of descent play. Perhaps Rex might try and imitate some of that here as well.
Yeah, sometimes those slow descent rushes from Scrin do actually do some damage, even though everyone thinks like, oh, the fast legs of Traveler, that's the thing that makes it powerful. But like, descents are still good. And yeah, the fast leg is the more powerful version of it, but you're right, there are sometimes some timings that a Scrin player can find with slow disintegrators that works out quite well.
Could be very vicious, especially on maps where you're normally very safe on the second field. You could not be anticipating the sins, and if you have a clunky, slow not MCV, it could backfire for you quite drastically. We do see, of course, Rex going for the Blue Tiberium here very early.
Yeah, that super early Blue Tiberium, that was like as the 4th Harvester spawned in, he sent it off to grab that Blue Tiberium, which he might get close to a full load of Blue Tiberium. It might be like, you know, 90% or something. We'll see. Futurama is here to try and punish this. One bike, second bike on the way? Okay, yeah, there is a second bike on the way. So this Harvester, it's going to be close one way or the other. Futurama, if he wants to suicide the bikes, I think he can get the guaranteed kill, but he's gonna is he not gonna have to pay for this at all? This might actually work out great for Futurama. Yeah, the secret tank was late, so the secret tank wasn't actually there to get any shots off. This is great for Futurama. Rex has been ahead on economy pretty much every single game, and this is a good way to even it out.
Rex being a little too bold with his early eco movements here for the Blue Tib, and he has paid for it with his Harvester, and now his second Harvester getting taken off the line on his green natural expansion field. And Futurama gets away scot-free.
Perfect control from Futurama. He rotated the weakened bike to the back line so that the Seeker Tank would fire its shot against the full health bike. That was absolutely perfect in that exchange for Futurama. He got the kill on the Blue Tiberium Harvester, and he suffered nothing for it. The counterattack from Rex is going to come in, but okay, maybe I misspoke because he backs up immediately. He sees the forces there on the front line, and he says, nope, I'm going somewhere else.
Not a Gunwalker inside. When we were playing against Black Hand, which is the most infantry-heavy faction in the entire game, you really want to have that in your army composition. As Rex does not, he's forced to back away from this very well-timed infantry from Futurama. Now he's really on the back foot with his map pressure.
Yeah, he sends out those Seeker Tanks and he finds nothing. And if we look at the economy tab, Rex is still ahead from where he would like to of Futurama, but he's not as far ahead as he would like to be as a Scrin player against Black Hand.
Futurama really going for more aggressive plays here as well, and it's surprising that Rex is somewhat level with Futurama's economy, since he went for 2 refineries in his natural field, whereas Futurama, as we can see here, is mounting a quite big attack with 2 war factories and a barracks working full speed ahead, producing units for this.
All right, Black Hand has been upgraded to be the Black Disciples, so now all of these infantry units have that base killing potential. For now, it's just going to be a dance of Seeker Tanks and Devs with these Scorpions and Rockets. We'll see if Futurama actually seems to be committing to this a bit more than I thought he would have. There's enough defense here from Rex that it's not going to be an easy fight for Futurama. There's going to be the force fields being added on as well. Dev tanks starting to be targeted down. The Scorpions have the focus fire on at least 2 of the Dev tanks. The Harvesters haven't taken damage yet, as the Buzzer Hives are keeping the Rockets at bay for the current moment. The Rockets can start evening out this fight and make it a big win for Futurama. The first tripod steps out. So many of these tanks are low health. The triple beam of the tripod will isolate them and burn them down. EMP even landing there as 2 Scorps explode in beautiful synchronicity, and this will be the end of the attack. I'm not sure that Futurama got what he wanted accomplished here. He might actually kill a tripod on exit before the Rockets go down. They get the last kill there. Futurama getting every bit of damage that he possibly can.
Flame tanks on the map now from Futurama as well behind all of this. One of them gets scouted on the top by 3 Harvesters, funnily enough, from Rex, so he will be ready for that. He has a tripod up there to try and intercept it, but the one on the bottom so far has yet been scouted. Not being scouted yet, and there's nothing here for Rex to really go for it.
Yeah, so it looks like Futurama will get 2 Tiberium spikes if he wants to go for it, because there's nothing to stop the dual flame tank in the south. There's going to be the Catalyst missile nuking one of the refineries at the natural expansion. It's a messy game. Once again, Futurama has 2 flame tanks and a third. Actually, it's the natural expansion. He's going to get a refinery basically for free. Rex has pretty much abandoned his bases with his tripods moving out into the middle of the map. It's going to be hard to defend against all these flamey boys that Futurama is sending. And it will be 1 dead flame tank in the south, but not the second one, which will drive by a power plant and suicide for the tier 3. And he does actually get it just barely. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it's going to be tripods going for the natural main base of Futurama. He will be getting pushed away there as Futurama sort of gets everything that he wants, and Rex gets almost nothing.
The only anti-infantry for Rex right now in his push are the Devastators, but they're getting picked off. The tripods weren't in position, and 1 Devastator falls to the Mantises. And without them, the tripods simply are helpless against the infantry of Black Hand.
You can try to go for the crush, but do you want to get that up close and personal with that many rocket squads of a Black Hand player? The answer is usually no, and Futurama, with a shaky start to the series, is looking good here in game number 4. The question is, will Rex's defense be stronger than Futurama's offense? Okay, 1 tripod going down. It's the march of the tripods as they head forward to try and deal with these purifiers, but the rockets are just cleaning up the tripods one by one. These fancy avatars don't even have to do that much damage because the rockets are doing everything. GG gets called, and that will be Futurama taking game number 4. And it is time for the ace match here on Mountain Pass. Perhaps the greatest map to decide a series that is all tied up. In the north, playing the nod. Give a cheer for Futurama!
And in the south, playing as the purple, Scrin, going back to his roots here with his home faction, we of course have Rex.
Rex versus Futurama. We have had some sloppy times in this series. Some not very clean games, but also some entertaining and close action-packed back and forths. This series is delivering early in the group stage, and this is a double elimination group, so in theory, both of these players could actually advance to playoffs, and we would get to see them potentially against each other again later on in the tournament.
On the map here, we do have Rex going for a nice little anti-scout on Futurama's units, killing 2 Miltons with 2 buzzers, very cost-effective in getting in that scout. He'll have his eyes on what Futurama is up to. He, however, is, of course, playing a more passive game, however.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned one of the anti-scouts that, I think it was Tournament Undergrounds. Rex successfully anti-scouted Futurama on Undergrounds because Rex was going for that rush. In this case, he does the same scouting denial, but Rex is actually playing so far completely normally. There is nothing bizarre about what Rex is doing, although it looks like he's going to hop the ridge with his drone ship, maybe. That's the angle he's headed for.
Yeah, right as you say that here, he's going for a tier 2 as well with his drone ship, so he is locked and loaded for another repeat of Undergrounds here, it seems like. Just like in that game, he's going for a tier 2 very early. He's going to get scouted this time, though, so Futurama will be prepared.
Yeah, and that militant squad just has vision of the nerve center, so it is a perfect scout there by Futurama. I don't know if Rex was hoping to hide that, but he didn't have the gunwalker ready, so what are you gonna do? But yeah, so Futurama is taking the normal natural expansion position, and Rex is gonna try and hop the ridge to go for the more aggressive natural expansion position, which would normally be your third.
Devour Tank is coming out of Rex. It seems like he is primed and ready for that push, but he might be going back into eco this time around because he has been scouted. So he's going to do a bit of a fake out on Futurama. Futurama himself is going for 2 war factories on 2 refineries. Very committed play. He's waiting for that push, but the push isn't ever going to come. Rex is actually going for eco instead.
Yeah, I feel like we're just ending up where we should have been at like the 5-minute mark. We're just getting there by the weirdest route possible. And Rex, he's kind of slowed down his eco. He's kind of hamstrung himself a little bit there by going for the weird MCV movement and the drone ship, but he also stole the blue Tiberium. So I think it's going to be fine. We'll see if he's got enough units to hold off these Scorpions. The dev tanks are charged up. 2 of them at least are fully charged. The 3rd one isn't charged just yet, but it's getting its power up there. 3 Scorpions go down in a burst of flame, and Futurama's like, all right, I'm going to back off now, but still no 3rd refinery from Futurama at his natural expansion. He, for the moment, is happy to roll with the double production, no economy build.
And Rex just playing mega safe. Having those Devour tanks, he's just going right back into economy. Futurama didn't go back into economy, so he's actually forced to play kind of on the back foot. He's forced to play a bit more aggressive to try and get something out of his units that he has invested so much money into, and so far pushing Devour tanks has proven to be very fruitless.
Okay, now another attack coming in from Futurama to the natural expansion of Rex. Disins are here, Photon Cannon is here, Harvesters are here as well, one of them very low on health, and Futurama will put 1 in the dirt, and a 2nd is going to be in a plot nearby. The graveyard is full of Harvesters. 2 go down, but so many more Scorpions get eliminated. It's 3 Harvesters for how many more Scorpions? The tale is still being written here as a couple of Scorpions are low on health, and the dev tanks power through those Scorps. The economy is devastated at the natural expansion of Rex, but the Storm Riders can get the long guaranteed kill on these Scorpions. It may take them a minute, but they will kill every single Scorp.
Yeah, and while that absolute massacre on Rex's 2nd field happened, and he lost so many Harvesters, Futurama actually is the one behind on economy. Despite grabbing both blue fields, he's still fallen behind since he only has 1 Harvester in his expansion, his natural expansion. Just 1 Harvester for a single refinery.
Yeah, he had put so many Scorpion tanks on the field that he completely gutted his economy. The sneaky sneak by of these Devastator tanks, these Devourer tanks rather. This is 7 dev tanks, most of them fully charged up, entering the main base of Futurama. Refinery goes down. A lightning spike is here as well to power up that Scrin army that much more. Scorpion tanks are onto the front line. They don't have dozer blades and they don't have lasers. This Nod player isn't that far along on the tech tree, and it's going to be double shredder turret. This is buying time. It's trying to preserve that war factory for another 2nd, and for the current moment, it works out. Storm Riders rolling in to join the fight. What do you have that shoots up Futurama? The answer is not a lot. His main base gets gutted, but the dev tanks back off for the current moment. They reform their formation, and it's going to be up against rocket squads, but no, just kidding. The rockets get cut down by the slice and dice of the buzzers.
As Futurama is fighting for his life here in this game, it seems like Rex, for him, it was just a diversion on this map since he has expanded back to his normal expansion, and he's going more eco, and he's simply just ahead.
Rex happy to pull Futurama in these different directions, pushing him in one spot and then pulling him away into another spot. The question will be if these late game upgrades like the Secret Shrine, and eventually we don't even have an ops center started here for Futurama, so his tech is in big trouble. He's playing vanilla Nod. He has these amazing upgrades potentially for these Scorpion tanks, but he is minutes away from ever activating them.
And the bigger problem for Futurama right now is also the fact that he can't expand anywhere. His natural expansion on the 2nd field, or the 3rd field, has been taken by Rex's super advanced and greedy play that he made.
So yeah, if he wants to expand, he has to go way out west to kind of close quarters with Futurama's now 3rd base, or excuse me, Rex's now 3rd base, what should have been Rex's natural expansion. This game state, as you referenced it, has just turned the map into a weird convolution. FaZe lands on all of the harvesters on the front line there, a couple of gunwalkers as well, and the Tib Infusion is nice, but it doesn't stop the crush of the gunwalker as the force fields get added on there. It's going to be the backstab for Futurama. That is his hope. He's over at the new natural expansion, the proper natural expansion, and it is undefended. The Scorpion tanks find 4 harvesters there living alone, and he finds 3 of them to put in the ground.
Rex's eco backfiring on him as it's completely undefended. Scorpion tank sneaking through in for Futurama, and this is really what he needed to pick up here in this game because he's just simply on the back foot economically. However, Rex at the same time getting Devastators, he's ahead on the tech, and he's also ahead on the units, so he'll be pushing in here shortly.
One tripod so close to being eliminated there as Rex manages to escape with that one tripod, and a 4th harvester goes down. It is a messy game once again. Even a harvester being auto-harvested to Futurama's field. Rex accidentally sending 2 harvesters to the front line, and if it wasn't for these buzzers distracting these rockets, they would have been able to punch down another harv of Rex. Futurama now having to contend with Storm Riders and tripods as the tripod tries to close the distance. And where are these not upgrades? These Scorpions are terrible, but they should be amazing at this stage of the game.
On the front line right now, Futurama trying to push in with his infantry, but the Devastators are simply behind buildings, so they cannot be touched by the infantry, the buzzer hives, as well as supplementing this defense nicely. And Futurama is simply all out of eco. That early expansion from Rex really coming in clutch this game and preventing Futurama from getting a nice 3rd field.
It is just trading places between these players. They are sending units. Futurama sent a bunch of units kind of randomly into Rex's base. And yeah, this early play of the Greenfield by Rex has thrown Futurama for such a loop. And Rex, he's lost so many harvesters over the course of this game, but he's got the field secured, and that is what really matters most of the time. We'll see with Rex's weird position if Futurama is now able to move over to the west side of the map and find some kind of late game eco. For the current moment, Futurama has done an amazing job of stabilizing and trying to get out anything that he possibly can to fight Rex. We'll see if these dev tanks are able to do anything.
But he's just stuck in his base. Futurama not able to move out, not getting a breath of fresh air. He simply has a handful of infantry and 2 avatars. And Rex, he has the high ground, he has the expansions, and he has the Tiberium, which ultimately is what matters in Kane's wrath.
Yeah, Futurama had been able to get out to that westward field maybe 1-2 minutes ago, things would be looking differently. And now I think he's going to have to kind of sacrifice everything on the eastern half of the map and move everything over to the western field, which he is slowly, sneakily harvesting with his stealthed harvesters as the dev tanks power up on the Tiberium. Uh-oh, Seeker Tank rolling in. This might be the stealth reveal that Futurama doesn't need right now. Seeker Tanks realizing that there are not harvesters present on this field, but at the same time, it's rocket squads walking up. One harvester goes down, and Futurama is going to turn this into a battle line. He's going to turn this into a fight here on the mountain pass. Mastermind heads forward looking for the mind control on at least one of these avatars, and he will find it. The mind control lands. One avatar changes sides, and the hallucinogenic grenades, they missed the Mastermind early on. Futurama, the attempt at the backstab doesn't work out, and Rex crushes forward with the army that actually matters. Strike down the middle. The MCV has actually escaped off to the left side of the map, so perhaps it's enough? Futurama's army can't be beat, surely. This sneaky play by Rex's army can't be beat, surely. Futurama's sneaky play, I don't think, will save him.
Stealth tanks in the back from Futurama actually gutted the entirety of the economy for Rex. He simply has 0 harvesters. Only 1 on his 3rd field is remaining, but it doesn't matter as Rex simply has the undefeatable force.
the army versus the economy. Although Futurama just lost a bunch of harvesters. You referenced there that, okay, GG gets called. I was like, this is either going to turn into the weirdest game or Futurama is still in it for some reason. And that means Rex advances on into the qualification match. He still has to face the winner of Dune Tiger versus Dutch Army. And now we have to see who it is that will challenge Rex in the upper bracket qualifying match. Who will challenge him to be the first seed out of Group B? Will it be the orange-black hand on the left side? Will it be Dune Tiger? Or will it be the red steel talons on the right side? Hailing from Red Alert 3, this is Bleak. Or Dutch Army, as you may know him from Red Alert 3, if you are a Red 3 enjoyer. Here, he is competing in Kane's Wrath in this tournament, going up against someone who, I don't know that Dune Tiger has ever played Red Alert 3, but someone who's been around the Kane's Wrath space for a while, has his ups and downs. Dune Tiger has never been the absolute best player in the world, but he's certainly a good enough player, and he would beat me very easily. Great guy to cast games with as well, but I don't know the farthest I've ever seen him make it in a tournament. Maybe quarterfinals or semifinals. I'm trying to think, maybe he has made semifinals a couple of times. Dutch, on the other hand, I know in the last year or so, he has picked up Kane's Wrath. He's sort of been doing a little bit of both, still competing on the Red Alert 3 side of things, but also competing on the Kane's Wrath side of things. And I know that he's been trading blows with some pretty good players as well, but I've never seen him play in a series, as far as I remember. I've never seen him play in a series, and I've never seen him play in a tournament. So, seen Dutch Army play many times in Red Alert 3. Great player over there. Let's see how well it translates versus Kane's Wrath and versus a Kane's Wrath veteran. Dune Tiger, who has been playing, sort of living, breathing Kane's Wrath. You know, I'm sure he has a real life too, but he's been more into Kane's Wrath than Dutch Army has been. So how well does the Red Alert 3 difference translate to Kane's Wrath? We'll find out. Not well for that Pitbull, as it turns out. Now, of course, the map is Tournament Rift, an oldie but a goodie, and one of those maps that we don't see very often anymore, and I don't think we'll see it very much beyond this tournament, or beyond this stage of the tournament. But every once in a while, you will see a player pick it, pull it out, and bring it back to the forefront of competitive play, but not very often. Couple of bikes skating around the map for Dutch, or for Dune Tiger. Dutch Army has a couple of harvesters here on the front line. Dutch has gone significantly further into harvesters than Dune Tiger has, but let's see if Dune Tiger can actually even up that score. He's going to be trading a lot of bikes for this, maybe a buggy as well. First harvester goes down, and another bike dies on exit, as well as a buggy. So it is heavy losses on both sides, one single unit being important on the Dutch Army side of things, and that's the harvester, but many bikes going down on the Dune Tiger side of things. One harvester down on the front line, and because Dutch Army has gone for the contested third field first, because he has gone for that center location, he does have a potential real natural expansion to fall back upon in a little bit later. But if he gets this entire field to himself and Dune Tiger is not able to adequately punish him, then Dutch Army will just have a massive economic advantage. And Dune Tiger is confirming, yes, this is not a double expansion. He will see that it is just the one expansion for Dutch Army. And we might have a double-pronged attack here with bikes in two locations at once. There are Titans in the main base. They don't shoot fast enough to kill these bikes off before the bikes knock down one of the harvesters, but it's going to cost almost every single bike that Dune Tiger has in the back door. It was an attempt at a kill, and he will find some damage. He might even escape with these two low-health bikes. Dutch was not on top of the unit control and could have gotten those extra two bikes killed, but he may have also lost a Pitbull for it, so maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, but either way, the bikes will escape for now, and Dune Tiger, he's up to 8 Harvesters, which at various points, Dutch Army has also had 8 Harvesters, but in this case, one of Dune Tiger's Harvesters is pulling in that blue Tiberium, so he is going to get a little bit of an eco boost from that. Of course, with the drive time, it might actually have been more efficient to just keep harvesting that green, but we'll hope that it's one of the Harvesters that's transferring down from the main field anyways. Bikes taking a couple of shots at those riflemen. And of course, there are 2 Tib spikes in the south, but they are kind of poker spikes. They are spikes that can be a real flip of the coin as to whether or not you manage to get them or not. And in this case, both players have opted to ignore them. So you play this map really like a 1 spike map, and then you just go on from there. Command post is here. AP ammo hasn't finished up yet, but as you saw, it is very close to being done. Bikes skating around the map. They're looking for another angle. They're hoping they can swing in and kill some more Harvesters, but they swing in and they find Pit Bulls and Titans ready and waiting for them. Arms open wide, ready to receive those bikes with vicious death. Another Harvester auto returning to that blue Tiberium, and it's going to be safe for now. There is a heavy Harvester already there, and there is also a Hammerhead potentially on Overwatch. Rifleman comes in for the scout. Dutch Army, I think, trying to chase out the remaining bikes of Dune Tiger, but I think they already exited. And this is not a big Steel Talons force, but it is a force that can crush a lot of Harvesters if the Titans get up close and personal. We'll see if the Wolverines are able to cut down these Rocket Squad numbers. That's a lot of Rocket Squads, so as soon as they get the volleys off, then those are dead Wolverines. Nice and easy there. And that will be the end of the Wolverine side of the attack. But on the other side of the map, it's going to be Wolverines finding a flame tank with the help of these Hammerheads. And that'll be 1 dead flame tank getting eliminated there. The Titans may have been pushed off in the south, but Pitbulls, Wolverines, and Hammerheads will find a bit of damage in the north. And the Titans could even make the long, long walk back up to this location. 1 Wolverine goes down, the Hand of Nod gets eliminated, and it's going to be Hammerheads that are avoiding this obelisk for the current moment. The Mantis is keeping that obelisk safe from the eyes in the sky. They're not keeping the Harvesters safe. Of course, the Pitbulls having to dance around that obelisk as well, hoping to avoid it. And that's an MCV that pops out at a terrible time. It will take a little bit of damage here, down about 1/3 of its HP right as soon as it spawns in. Another Shredder turret gets deployed. Mantis is now brave enough to chase away these Hammerheads, and these are Steel Talons Hammerheads, so they don't have ceramic armor. They don't have some of those other upgrades. Really just ceramic armor. That's the main one that Zocom in particular gets. Hammerheads getting shredded by the rockets, but the rockets aren't in high enough numbers to actually kill off the Hammerheads completely. Another dead Hammerhead going to the grave site. And this is the double MCV play of a Nod, well, Black Hand player. But all Nod factions love their multi-MCV. It works well with GDI as well. Not so much Steel Talons because you don't have the sonic emitters, but it works well with a number of factions. And it just so happens that Nod players, I feel like, do it more often. The multi-MCV push, they do it more often than any other faction. But everyone likes it at least a little bit. Pitbulls and Titans, they'll kind of spot out that another MCV is on the move. They've seen the one in the north, and now they see the one in the south. They realize that there is a multi-MCV threat here, and it's going to be double SAM sites as well. Dutch Army knows to target down the turrets, but with Tib Core, it is costly nonetheless. The quad turret upgrade made possible by fixes in R20-something, in R-something of 1.02 plus a long time ago. I don't know if it was Master Leaf or CGF who fixed quad turrets, but quad turrets used to desync the game quite a bit. Not every time, but it was enough that players just would never build it because, I don't know, maybe it had a 90% chance of desyncing the game, something like that. Redeemer out on the map. Up here in the north is where Dune Tiger's Redeemer steps out onto the field. And game number 1 of this best of 5 is not going to be an easy victory no matter which way it goes. We're getting into a dangerous position for the Steel Talons player. If he doesn't get a Marv, if he doesn't have a good answer for this Redeemer, then he is going to find himself in a very awkward spot as the Redeemer is able to rage gen and dance its way through his army. That's the thing about the Eradicator Hexapod, can blink away, and the rage gen of the Redeemer has sort of a greater range than just about anything else. And so okay, that's a bad example of it. I'm talking up the rage gen, and then it just comes to nothing in that first usage there. But we have seen many times a player use a Redeemer's rage gen as almost like a ranged attack, where you can get in range of enemy units, but they can't really fire upon you. You're not really in EMP range either. And then you rage gen, they thin out their forces a little bit there, or you open up an opportunity to move in with your forces while they are rage genned. Pitbulls, Wolverines, and Titans onto the front line here as Dutch Army's forces push forward. He's going to be able to shred the infantry because the Redeemer is nowhere nearby. It's a fire sale from Dune Tiger. He's got a powerful army, but it just isn't here. Dutch Army, if he is opposed in these sorts of spaces, Shockwave artillery lands. It manages to hit both the MCV and the Redeemer. I think even a repeat hit there on the MCV, and the Behemoths are now to the front line. The Spectres aren't here just yet. It is 3-4 Spectres here for the Black Hand side of things. But this is where Dune Tiger is going to be wishing that he had stealth. Keep in mind, there is an army in the south from Dutch, so he has a secondary threat working against Dune Tiger in this moment. And those Spectre artillery, they don't have to go toe-to-toe with anything because they're getting blasted from the sky. Orbital bombardment finds the kill, and every single hammerhead goes down. A sacrifice to the pagan gods of Black Hand, and so the Harvesters are also auto-harvesting their way to a doomed existence. Dutch Army is actually losing this fight versus the Shredder turrets. The Pitbulls fighting against the rocket squads, and even though they have mortars, the Wolverines are on the north side fighting against the Shredder turrets. The A move has worked against Dutch Army in the south there. That army was not much of a threat after all, and instead it's going to be Grenadiers leading the charge, hoping to lock down these expensive Black Hand forces. Oh, I thought they were trained on the MCV. They are now as the Behemoths burn down that MCV. Giant shells crashing into it, volley after volley, as the Behemoths are ready to go. And the EMP lands on the Redeemer. Bye-bye, Redeemer. As it would be hilarious if the if like a Mammoth Tank or a Pitbull got the killing blow on the Redeemer after the Behemoths had done all of the damage. And even though Dutch Army may have lost the fight in the south, he won the fight in the north, which mattered most. Dune Tiger taps out and leaves game number 1. And Dune Tiger has sent us to Tournament Odyssey for game number 2. In the top right-hand corner, playing the orange, this is Dune Tiger. He decides to stick with the Black Hand, even though it didn't work in game number 1. But also sticking with the Steel Talons, because it did work in game number 1. This is Dutch, a.k.a. Bleak, rocking that red Steel Talons. And as an extra special surprise, welcome to Alex06, joining in the middle of this series. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Looking forward to casting these games. It's been fun watching Chrono Clash so far and trying to keep up with all the different groups. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you've been enjoying it. And if you guys haven't seen Alex before, his channel will be linked in the description. He also casted some games with Korak a few, I don't know, days or weeks ago, something like that. He casted some games earlier on in Chrono Clash, but he's joining us here for game number 2 and for the rest of the series of Dutch Army versus Dune Tiger. A Red Alert 3 veteran versus a Kane's Wrath veteran. And so far, things are looking pretty stock standard for both players here on Tournament Odyssey.
We're seeing some harassment here on the side of Dune Tiger. He's getting hit by a pit bull on the harvesters, but just one pit bull for now, so I don't think it's gonna cost him any harvester for the moment. Meanwhile, he's expanding as well, a little bit to the left.
That's a bad omen if you lose a harvester to one pit bull in the first couple of minutes of the game. Dutch Army, on the other hand, he is going for those MRTs, packing a couple of rocket squads into them. A classic Steel Talons strategy. The, of course, goofy version is to rush airfield and then go flying MRTs with the Ox transports.
Yeah, those transports are something else. I think he's going to try to attack really quickly with those. He's already got 4 of them, but Dune Tiger's already seen that coming, so I think he's going to prepare very, very quickly. He's got 5 actually.
Dune Tiger rolling a couple of bikes and buggies up to the base of Dutch Army, but then he realizes that Dutch has completely paused on the refinery production. So Dune Tiger was hoping to smash some harvesters at the natural expansion, but he finds nothing there currently. And Dutch Army may be a little bit slow on powering down that refinery. He lets the harvester get out, but perhaps it won't even matter. All right. Dune Tiger just kind of backs off.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to go for the main base, and that's what we're seeing. But Dutch put up a defense real quick. He's got 2 Titans. I believe he's seen those, so he's gonna back away a little bit.
Mine drop in the middle of the map. Just gonna cause the units to stop and attack it for just a moment. Second refinery not quite out just yet for Dutch. He did go refinery and then barracks on the natural expansion. And now even an engineer, perhaps for the defensive tower or for the expansion point out on the east side of the map.
Yeah, if I'm looking where that engineer's going, I think he's going for that tower. I think he's going to try to hold up a defensive position around this area.
Yeah, I mean, those defensive towers are so good, especially if you got bikes, buggies driving around on the low ground. That defensive tower just one-shots a lot of those units.
Yeah, especially against Nod and Nod sub-factions. Those are really, really, really good.
A little bit of a tussle there. A couple of pit bulls sneaking into the natural expansion of Dune Tiger. Dutch Army hoping to follow up that Game 1 victory with some not super early aggression, but with some early mid-game aggression. In the end, Dutch Army does decide to back off. Both players happy to play out to the mid-game before any real action.
Yeah, I think he's going to need to reinforce those MRTs of his with some anti-infantry if he wants to really be able to defend against the Black Hand army that's going to soon be walking in space.
All right, bike swinging into the main base of Dutch. One harvester gets dumped in the dirt, and the bike's looking for a second as well. Dutch Army will lose some of his harvs back at home, trying to hold off the army on the front line as well. It's a bit of a messy start to the fight, but Dune Tiger gets the kills he was looking for, and he gets out quickly. Man spam moving towards the natural expansion of Dutch Army. He's got the War Factory there. He's got Wolverines, but once again, AP ammo is a bit slow in this game as well. First Wolverine goes down, a couple of watchtowers up and running, but it's fresh reinforcements, and this shouldn't be enough rocket squads to take down the base, but it will be enough rocket squads to trade out with these units. MRTs trying to keep everything alive. The watchtower will survive, and AP ammo finishes up just in time.
I was close. He was trying to turn off the power by destroying that power plant, but it was close, but not good enough. Not quite fast enough, unfortunately. It was a good play by Dutch.
Dune Tiger manages to get another harvester kill there at the main base. Dutch Army spending time rebuilding some of his harvesters. He's back up to 9 now, but ooh, catalyst missile. Oh, he sells off the refinery just in time, which is a consolation prize if there ever was one. Well, first flame tank does get spotted and killed there on the left side of the map, but the one on the right side of the map has not been spotted out. So Dune Tiger might have a fiery surprise here for Dutch Army. One refinery down, and the second one is about to be under threat. Titan doesn't realize that the Titan isn't headed for that flame tank, and the flame will get the refinery. And how much more can Dutch army lose to one single flame tank? For now, his economy is pretty much in shambles. Lots of harvesters, but basically nowhere for them to go.
And he lost his construction yard as well, so that was really a strong setback for Dutch here. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back from that, but Dutch does surprise sometimes.
It's a tough fight in the north as the GG comes out and Dutch army leaves game number 2. Dune Tiger evens things up, and he will not be put down by the Red Alert 3 Pro. And it may be Freaky Friday, because here with the Freaky Walrus Man on Tiki Turmoil, Dutch army has opted to switch things up as well as Dune Tiger. So you may be used to Dune Tiger playing a Nod faction and Dutch army playing a GDI faction, but now you have to reverse all of your assumptions, which I do love when players decide to switch it up. It's always nice to see a specialist be first in their class at something, but it's also nice to see a little bit of variety. And here, Dutch army has opted for variety, so we'll see if it lends him a better chance at winning with Black Hand versus the Zocom of Dune Tiger. It'll be quite a change, but I assume both of these players are going to be pretty comfortable with these factions.
Yeah, I think they given that they play a lot of Kane's Wrath, I think they'll be able to play pretty well regardless of what faction. But it's always good to see a little bit of a not an upset, but to see a little bit of like a surprise there. I think it makes things a little bit more interesting.
Who is the underdog in this series? Which way is the upset? Is Dune Tiger the expected victor because he's the one with the more Kane's Wrath tournament experience? Or is Dutch army, because he has higher highs in a different game, the favorite? It's actually, I could see it going either way.
Same, I think at this point it's anyone's game. We're seeing like both players scout out their opposition here. Again, we're seeing a little Pitbull here on the tip field and a Black Hand Confessor Squad, Confessor Cabal.
And Dutch army goes straight for 5 harvesters, so there's no early bike or buggy to tango with this Pitbull and chase it away. There, the Raider buggy emerges now, finally. But again, like I said in the other game, it's a sad day if you're a Nod player and you lose a harvester to a singular Pitbull. But in this case, both players playing comfortable. They're up to 5 harvesters apiece, and they've moved their MCVs in the direction of their natural expansion. But of course, with a sneaky Nod player, natural expansion doesn't always mean third refinery. It does in this case, as both players stay in lockstep with each other and deploy their third refineries quite quickly. Dune Tiger. This is interesting. He's going for the blue Tiberium with a pretty early harvester. He does have 7 harvesters out on the map, but he has criticized in casts, in commentaries along with me, he has criticized players for sending their blue Tiberium harvester out too early. So I guess maybe he's feeling comfortable breaking his own rule about that fast blue Tiberium, especially because his harvester isn't actually harvesting anything. Dune Tiger making a bit of a mistake here, and it may not even matter because these bikes may find this harvester and kill it regardless, so who cares what it did or didn't harvest?
Yeah, I think he waited a little bit too long and got caught, unfortunately. He's gonna get sniped. There it goes.
One harvester in the dirt, and Dune Tiger feeling silly, but he will be feeling good about it, catching a couple of these bikes if he's able to explode them with the mines. Mine drop does get spotted. Dutch army needs to skate around it, and he needs to trade back as many of these bikes for as many APCs as he can. The buggies not getting the kill on the APCs that are low on health, and the Pitbull's coming in to support this attack. Dune Tiger getting away with murder here. That should have been 2 dead APCs, but instead they're still alive.
Yeah, he really trapped him. I was not expecting that.
That was the ultimate mind play. That Harvester wasn't AFK. He was actually just luring them in. 2 pit bulls go down on the front line. The natural expansion is under threat. There's rocket squads here as well from a Dutch army. So this attack will be pushed back. So far, those weakened APCs from earlier, they have survived against all odds. If they get tagged by this Confessor Cabal squad as they're trying to escape, that'll be the worst fate for them.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not actually focus firing on the APC. He probably hasn't checked to see that it's very low health.
He's a little bit worried about the bikes that just rolled up into his natural expansion. Hammerhead's going to be trading blows with them, and Dutch Army abandons the task. He does not want to sacrifice any additional bikes to get the guaranteed kill on either the Hammerhead or on that Harvester. And it looks like the infantry forces of Dutch Army, they are fully online. He's got rocket squads kind of spreading out all over the map.
Yeah, at this point I see a lot of anti-air, so I don't know if those Hammerheads are going to survive.
They've got ceramic armor, and I think they've got AP ammo as well. Yes, they do, they are feeling cozy. Those are Zocom! These MCVs just cannot survive between these 2 games. They keep getting caught, but Dune Tiger manages to hold down the fort for now. Another 2, 3, 4 bikes and buggies going down as they try to escape. Dutch Army just not having success escaping with those low health units. Meanwhile, back in the natural expansion of Dutch Army, the bikes will get the revenge on the Harvester that gets killed off. The Hammerheads escape. That ceramic armor coming in clutch once again.
That was really good sniping that Harvester. I didn't expect that either.
You got to trade those Harvester kills back. And the defensive turret from the high ground. He finds the angle on a pit bull. He kills it in one shot. Dutch Army and Dune Tiger both going for that 3rd base. It's going to be the MCV moving into position for both players. But, of course, it was after a double airfield for the Zocom player. Both of these factions can have very powerful mid-game spikes. On the Dune Tiger side of the map, we can always see a Zocom player amp up their army with infantry. Those Tib field suits are quite powerful. And of course, on the Dutch Army side of the map, we expect to see the man spam at some point, and we've got it, but we don't have the infantry on the Dune Tiger side. He's fully relying on the aircraft. We'll see if how that works out for him.
Yeah, he's got like 9 Hammerheads, and he's putting up another airfield as well. I think he's really doubling down on those Hammerheads. But I don't know. That's a big army on Dutch's side. I'd be surprised if he doesn't do something against those air units.
Yeah, the total army value can be a little bit deceiving. Dune Tiger has the advantage of total army value, but if Dutch Army gets SAM sites and Tib core missiles, then that total army value will disappear for Dune Tiger with the appropriate counter. In this case, he does take a couple of shots there. Dune Tiger still leading with 30k of army versus the 24k of Dutch. Again, it can be easily countered if the right angle is found against these Hammerheads. APC Pitbull moving out for Dune Tiger. He's heading through the middle of the map. He might catch one Blue Tiberium Harvester returning to home. Scorpion tanks are finally here in good numbers. They've got Dozer Blades as well. A little bit of fight in the north, but it's just units versus a Tib Spike.
Now both players have lost their Tib Spike respectively at this point. I think I'm seeing Dutch here like go for his opponent's base, but he's gonna back up. That's too many defensive turrets. I think he doesn't want to risk it.
Yeah, we're about to split the map in half. There's about to be a northern fight and a southern fight. SAM sites get deployed, but without TIB core missiles, these ceramic armor hammerheads can take so many shots, and Dune Tiger is exposing the weakness of SAM sites by sniping the power plants one after another. APCs and Pitbulls going to be rolling in. Dutch Army's forces have been spread out all over the map, and this is perfect control pretty much here by Dune Tiger. He pulls in the APC Pitbull army, and then as soon as the Scorpions move in to respond, the APCs move out of range and the hammerheads swing in to start hammering those tanks. It's a split force, but the main base is gone for good. Dutch Army's main is leveled. It's razed to the ground, and now he's going to have to do a lot more than just kill a Reclamator hub if he wants to even this game up. Sonic Emitter gets deployed. It's fully surrounded here, and as Dune Tiger continues to work away at the natural expansion of Dutch Army is trying to shut down this forward base. He gets the Reclamator hub, and he doesn't lose too many units to that Sonic Emitter. It's still an all-out brawl at the natural expansion, and finally the obelisk comes up, but the hammerheads swing in, and still no TIB core for Dutch Army. Dune Tiger's hammerheads have been so incredibly powerful all throughout this match. They've found so many angles and so many opportunities. It's an obelisk being deployed. Hammerhead's now on the scene of the crime. SAM site gets deployed, and it's going to be the obelisk knocked down once. As soon as it gets a shot off, it gets knocked down, and it's a shockwave artillery to finish the game. The GG comes out, and Bleak, aka Dutch, has been defeated.
Oh, that was such a shame, because economically, Dutch was actually doing well enough that he could have researched those TIB core missiles just before that final assault on his base, like a few minutes before. If he would have had those, that one researched, I think he would have been able to hold off against the hammerheads, but he just, for some reason, he either got too busy trying to hold off the assault and doing too many things at once, but yeah, ultimately that cost him the game, which is a shame really, because he was really doing well. His army value was really high.
And we're now on one of the smallest maps in the pool, Sick City, for the return of Steel Talons for Dutch Army. No more Black Hand funny business. But on the south side, Dune Tiger, he has opted for Marked of Kane, which is, unless he played it earlier and I forgot, I think the first time we're seeing it in this series. But Marked of Kane, obviously a super popular faction in Kane's Wrath competitive. The 1v1 scene tends to like Marked of Kane. Their only real downside, if you can call it that, is that they don't have those flame weapons.
Yeah, aside from the flame weapons, they're pretty good when it comes to unit upgrades. So a lot of combined arms play, and the infantry, the cyborgs, are really, really good against vehicles. Those energy weapons that they get later on are
They're
deadly.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing, I guess, the other adjustment that players have to make coming from Nod to Marked of Kane is you can't rely on those Scorpion tanks to get a late game power spike from the laser capacitors, because as you referenced, they instead get the supercharged particle beams, which of course doesn't affect Scorpion tanks. So those are sort of, when you come from Nod, those are the two main adjustments you have to make. Everyone is so used to Scorpion tanks having that late game power spike that makes them useful in the late game.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of people like really love to use Venoms in the later minutes of a match that has Marked of Kane and Enlighten as well. And those are always fun to see.
We may see the double airfield return from Dune Tiger. He went for it in the last game, and you're right, the double airfield, or even just single airfield with the Venom spam, can be pretty powerful. We got to see the dance of the Pitbull, this lone Pitbull, which has been present from both of these players when they play GDI factions. It's returning, and it was here just kind of annoying the MCV, trying to stop the MCV from being able to deploy at the natural expansion. A couple of harvesters taking some shots there from Dutch, but overall, it's a very calm start to the game. Natural expansions are coming along nicely for both players.
Yeah, and Dune Tiger microing those attack bikes, he's doing really well actually. The way he's pulling them back and forth, and always like how he's moving them around. He's always counting the seconds, and then he's like 1, 2, and then he's switching. So he's probably focusing on 2 things at the same time. It's really impressive actually.
As you say that, the last of them do end up going down. But you're right, he was doing a good job of controlling the bikes up to that point. But yeah, the Watchtower's eventually peppering one down, and then Titan finding the kill on the other one. Dutch Army, he goes for an aggressive War Factory placement, but he is going second War Factory. Okay, never mind. MCV is packing up. We are going for a potential all-in here. This is Six City. This is a small map, and this is a map that a lot of players do like to play very aggressive. Steel Talons can be fantastic about that. We'll see if the Harvester Crushes end up being a factor here as Dutch Army sets up for this assault. Oh, the backdoor backstab. The couple of Scorpion tanks making their way into the natural expansion of Dutch. And he doesn't have stealth detection to actually find that Harvester and crush it. First EMP lands on a Titan, locks it down. And the beam cannons for Dune Tiger are going to be backing on off. So the natural expansion has been disrupted for both, but it's a fast tier 3. I completely missed that. But it's straight to a tech center for an Obelisk of Light, and Dutch Army packs up and runs for the hills.
Yeah, he obviously saw that coming. Dune Tiger pulled his MCV out, his Harvester out, and he sent it for the blue tip field just as those Titans were walking up to his expansion. That was really good. So that's why he wasn't able to see them. There was nothing to see there. There was no Harvester.
Sneaky, sneaky Dune Tiger, and then going for one refinery on the natural expansion, and immediately, instead of following it up with a second War Factory, with a second refinery, he goes straight for the tech. Quick detour after his tier 3 comes up for an airfield so that he could get the mine drop, but then he sells off the airfield and he goes back to Eco. Second refinery gets deployed on the natural expansion. And Dune Tiger, he is looking cozy and he is looking happy.
Yeah, I think those Harvesters really pulled him back a little bit. He was not expecting those Scorpions. Now he's keeping 2 Titans on that end over there, on that ridge over, just to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because that's a weak point that a lot of players usually tend to forget on this map. Oh, Venoms. I see we're seeing Venoms here from the Marked of Kane player, Dune Tiger.
Yeah, but no upgrades. They're not the super sick Venoms just yet. Orca Strike came in. Orca Strike didn't really find anything. AA Battery gets deployed right as the Venom gets destroyed. And War Factory gets burned down by the beam cannons, or at least it was forced to be sold off either way. But a little bit of disruption to both players as the Orcas find a couple of kills in the natural expansion of Dune Tiger. Dutch Army finally finding the damage he was looking for 5 minutes ago, but he finally finds it now. By the way, Supercharged Particle Beam finishes up as well.
Yep, but right now he's not going for more Venoms. He's going to go for the Redeemer, I believe. What I'm seeing here is right. The engineering facility is building something very, very slowly, and I think we might get our first epic unit of this entire matchup out.
This is perhaps an attempt to oversell the Venoms, because you're right, he's got the air tower, he produces a couple of Venoms, he gets the supercharged particle beam, and then he basically cuts Venom production. They're just coming out very, very slowly, one at a time. Orca's coming back into the natural expansion. They're going to be looking for these Harvesters, and they're not finding anything, but they're instead finding 2 Venoms to kill them off. 2 Orcas go down, and Dune Tiger defends his natural.
And the Redeemer has risen.
Stomping his way onto the battlefield. Double engineer as well. Titans on the left side of the map going to be leveling one of the Tiberium spikes. And, well, that may be unfortunate for Dune Tiger, but Dutch Army, he has been having a lot more misses than hits, so finally getting a guaranteed kill there, a confirmed kill, is certainly nice. The other thing is Dutch Army is actually ahead on eco, but it certainly doesn't feel like it, which is the pace of the game, the technology level. It doesn't feel like Dutch Army is ahead of Dune Tiger, but he's been ahead on economy for a little while.
Yeah, and I wonder what his next move is going to be, because right now he only has a few hammerheads, he has a behemoth, but he's nothing to really deal with those venoms, and right now there's 5 venoms on his expansion field.
Oh, sheesh. What is he going to do about that? A couple of slingshots would be nice at this stage of the game, but it's going to be a fresh AA battery to push away those venoms. The other thing is there was a blue Tiberium harvester for Dune Tiger, and it avoided the crush of like 4 or 5 Titans while crossing a bridge. It was a real James Bond kind of harvester there, avoiding it. These same Titans now going to be getting trapped by Venoms and by Avatars, not going to be able to escape the corner of the map. Unfortunately for Dutch Army, he is, well, actually maybe they will escape for the current moment, but they're kind of trapped back there.
We're seeing some Vertigo bombers waiting to just drop something on them really quickly, and those Titans are stuck because that bridge went down, unfortunately. But he's not doing anything, he's pulling those back.
Well, the artillery wars have begun. An Obelisk of Light was deployed by Dune Tiger, but then it got smacked down. And here's the Vertigos that you talked about. They find 2 behemoths. That's the behemoth numbers cut in half. The Avatars are here, and the Redeemer as well. Guess what isn't good at close quarters combat? It's behemoths, baby, as the Avatars stomp their way to the front line, and one of them gets annihilated, but only by the Hammerheads. The Redeemer not really under much of a threat as he snipes both of those husks and then moves out of range. As long as there's no EMP, he can walk his way back. Well, actually, no, there actually might be a barracks going for the body block there. The scan for the stealth reveal, but it's not enough damage, and the Obelisk gets a kill on a Harvester. It's a messy fight in the middle of the map. The behemoth numbers are coming back up. It looks like Dutch Army, is he going to be able to actually push this back? It's a tight fight of the MCVs. It's a glorious barrage from Nod. It's marked of Kane firepower. The Vertigo Bombers and the Spectres joining in to kill the MCV of the Steel Talons player. And the Obelisk trying to get its last shot as well. It's a messy fight in the middle of the map.
Yeah, you have defenses firing at defenses, you have infantry firing at vehicles, vehicles firing back at other vehicles. It's always a sight to behold on this map. It's something I love to see, but sometimes it gets hard to follow.
All right, the Behemoths step forward. They do have the Disruption Tower to contend with. There's going to be the Rage Gen. It might be the end of one of these Behemoths. Do the shots actually fire off? The answer is no. Vertigo Bombers come in for another bombing run. They get 2 more Behemoths, and there's still just nothing to lock down this Redeemer. No Shockwave Artillery, no EMPs landing. So the Redeemer steps away from the front line once again, and it's an Obelisk popped on top of the Behemoths. It's do or die for the Behemoths, and Dutch Army with his tournament life in the upper bracket on the line loses 3 Behemoths to a sneaky Obelisk on the front line. Firehawks come in, they clear out the Vertigos, and the Hammerheads manage to find a Spectre. An absolute cluster in the middle of the map yields just a messy slop between these players, but against it all and above all stands tall the Redeemer of Nod.
Yeah, at this point, I think it really is Dune Tiger's game to lose. I'm not seeing a lot of units on the side of Dutch, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to be able to survive much longer.
You got to try everything you can, and that's what we saw him do with those Hammerheads. Now he's using the Hammerheads to gun down a tip spike, and that's a sad day when your best prospect is gunning down a Tiberium spike. As I said, this is a double elimination group stage, so Dutch Army, if he falls here, and it certainly looks like he is going to, he will fall down to the lower bracket, and he will have a shot at making it into the playoffs. Engineer jumps inside of the Behemoth. He will have a shot at making it into the playoffs. And you're right in saying that this is Dune Tiger's game to lose. It is the Redeemer's game to lose. That double Engineer just gives it so much staying power.
Yeah, and I don't think he has AP ammo. He doesn't seem to have it. So it's really going to take a... Oh, yeah, he does. You're right. My apologies.
All right, there's the fire sale. It looks like the GG is going to be coming out from Dutch Army. He will tap out of the game, despite the fact that he had 3 Titans from the earlier part of the game, wailing away at the base of Dune Tiger. He doesn't have much to actually carry the game. GG gets called, and Dune Tiger will win the series 3-1, knocking Dutch down to the lower bracket, and Dune Tiger will advance versus Rex to the qualifying match. Who advances as the first seed from Group A? Let's find out. It's qualification time, baby. We are here on Badlands Hills for exactly that, the first qualification match of Group B. One of these players will advance into the playoffs as the first seed, a guaranteed top 8 finish. The other player will drop down for a second shot at playoffs in the lower bracket. Kicking it off on the right side, rocking the purple, playing Scrin. Give it up for Rex. And of course, on the other side, he's the orange. He's fierce as a tiger. This is Dune Tiger. Vanilla GDI versus Vanilla Scrin. It's looking like a good start. Both players on comfort pick factions. GDI versus Scrin. Dune Tiger, the underdog. Can he punch above his weight? And Rex, can he come through in first place to get a guaranteed top 8 finish here in Chrono Clash II? Rex, he's had some inconsistent performances in the past, but in this event, he showed up strong, knocking Futurama down to the lower bracket. And now the final challenge, Dune Tiger, coming hot and fresh off of that win versus Dutch Army in the second round. It's Scrin versus GDI, and Scrin is definitely Rex's powerhouse faction. We talk about it pretty much every time we see him, but he is more powerful with Scrin than he is with any other faction. You know, Scrin, Traveler 59, maybe even Reaper 17 in there as well, but he is most powerful with the Scrin factions. Dune Tiger, though, he has also been showing up and putting up good games, but it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a tough best of 5 for Dune Tiger here in Chrono Clash II. Harvester moving out. If he's headed towards the blue Tiberium, then Dune Tiger is violating his own rule about when you go for the blue Tiberium, and it is going to hurt him because guess what? Rex has already harvested all of the blue Tiberium. There's the full stop, and this is not a good omen for the start of this series. You don't want to be doing something silly like wasting your time sending one of your first 5 or 6 harvesters for blue Tiberium and just accomplishing nothing. APCs, couple of rockets, couple of riflemen inside of them. Maybe they get a lucky mine drop. We'll see how they fare against these gunwalkers. For now, Micro is fine. Both players just going to be doing some light engaging versus each other. Lightning Spike actually gets deployed on the left side of the map here, so this is sometimes a vision-preserving move. And this Harvester, lazily sent back to auto-harvest the blue tip from the middle of the map, goes down. Good night to one Harvester as Dune Tiger skates ahead in the total Harvester count, now on 9 versus the 7 of Rex. Dune Tiger's economy is, of course, behind that of the Scrin, but that is expected. If you are familiar with perhaps StarCraft 2, you expect that the Zerg will have a bigger economy, but it kind of balances out. They want to be one base ahead. Scrin, because of the way that the Harvesters mechanically work in the game, they're always going to have a little bit of a boost, but it kind of balances out. And it's a real big problem for the Scrin typically if they're behind in eco in the first 5 minutes of the game. It means something went wrong. So the fact that Dune Tiger is evening things up, that he's staying very close on the Harvester count and on the total resources gathered, is good for Dune Tiger, but don't get too worried for the GDI boy. He has been macroing well enough that he is going to be able to make it to Juggernauts, I assume, a Marv, if he wants it, and be able to take this Scrin to the late game. AP ammo looks like it is about 80% done. Tech Center gets started, and we can assume it's railguns. It could be tungsten shell. This is a Scrin boy who likes their aircraft, so maybe it's straight into tungsten shell, but we can assume that it's going to be railguns. Mammoth tanks, favored by some GDI players. Not a lot, but a few here and there. Predator tanks with railguns, also a powerful option. Double slingshot is here, and this Harvester is just randomly harvesting that Tiberium, grabs a little bit of green Tiberium, and then leaves the front line. Both players letting their empty main base Harvesters just kind of stretch their legs a little bit and head towards that nearby green field. Rex happy to eat up another expansion. Both players floating over 6K in the bank. Normally it would be a problem. I think the spending is about to ramp up for both of them, so this isn't necessarily going to be staying for very long. Maybe it would be more efficient if they had all of their money spent, but I think they just got caught in a bad bit of a production cycle where they missed either going for a fast Eradicator, fast warp chasm, or a fast reclamator hub. Either way, money's going down. It's now being spent. Research should be coming in soon. There's the railguns just there, and the first airfield has been built as well. A rifleman, not an engineer, so that is a scouting ox transport. He's just trying to get eyes on the map. He's trying to get a feel for where Rex is and where Rex is not. There we go. Warp chasm out on the field. Eradicator hexapod on the way. Firehawks, not yet. No Firehawks at all, not even in the near future. If there are any, they haven't even started building. So there will be no tech snipe. If that was an engineer, maybe it could get a tech snipe. Ooh, Mammoth tank on the high ground goes down. Tripods get a couple of shots off there. Storm Riders, they've just kind of been circling the map, looking for targets, scouting out areas, trying to find some easy units to pick off. There's that ox transport with the rifleman. Flies right by the camera, ends up going down. Triple descent inside of that Eradicator. So this is the highest DPS version of the Eradicator, but it has short range. I don't know if it's the shortest range unit you throw in the Eradicator, but if it's not the shortest range, it is pretty close to the shortest range unit you throw in the Eradicator. So you got to close the distance, but once you do, that's when that high DPS really shows its stuff. Storm Riders low on health, two of them so close that if the RNG of the AI choosing which one to fire upon had been slightly different, that would have been two dead Storm Riders. Instead, it's just one for now. Upgraded power plant goes down. Gravity stabilizer could also be targeted. It's been 7, almost 8 minutes of basically no action, but it's ready, getting ready to kick off here. Predator tank's going to get cut off as they head up the hill. Unfortunate that they won't be there to help kill off that nerve center, and I think the tripods are going to have a fine time dealing with those APCs. Meanwhile, the tripods of Rex clear out the main base of Dune Tiger. It's an easy, no contest fight there, and that slingshot may have tungsten shells, but he's going to need tungsten armor because it's just not going to work out. First EMP grenade lands on the Eradicator, and where's the blink back? Not when you're frozen in time, baby. It's a stasis shield to try and save the Eradicator, and it's low on health, but so many of the mammoths are offline. He's locked in another dimension, stuck, not in this world, but somewhere else. EMP lands, and it's going to be the phase to save the Eradicator. No worries about that guy. It's more railgun mammoths heading to the front line. Even a storm, even a sonic emitter there on the back line, but he's just out of range of almost everything. Mammoths going down one by one, and the tripods moving in for the surround. X-Rex dominating over the army of Dune Tiger. Phase or not, this alien force won't be stopped. Mass amounts of tripods laying on the ground, and the engineers starting to come out as the GG gets called, and Dune Tiger taps out of game number 1. Rex finds his first win in this best of 5. And we're off to Atacama Road. Here in the deserts in the high plateau is going to be the mark of the Black Hand. In the north, playing the orange, down 0-1, it's Dune Tiger. And in the south, rocking the purple, sticking with Scrin. Why change a good thing if it's working for you? This is Rex. I do remember many months, or perhaps at this point years ago, yeah, probably like 1.5, 2 years ago, Rex, one of his big weak points was mid-game macro. Almost every game that I saw of Rex, somewhere around 6-7 minute mark, something around there, he's floating more than 10k of resources. He's playing Scrin, he's got that fast, efficient harvesting, but then he's just not really spending his cash well. And it seems like in this event, in recent times, Rex has fixed some of those problems that he was having with his macro. Yeah, he spiked a little bit in that last game, but he was spiking at the exact same time as his opponent while also moving towards the third base. So that kind of a spike, understandable. And then, of course, as soon as he got that third base MCV placed, he was back to burning through that cash, going for that ultra late game army, upgraded tripods, Eradicator, full stack. Well, not full stack. He was missing the aircraft. We didn't have any big aircraft presence from the Scrin. So not quite full stack Scrin attack, but the macro seems to be improved here in 2025 compared to some of the previous years that I've seen Rex play. So kudos to Rex, but Dune Tiger, also kudos to him, staking it to Rex, going toe-to-toe with him up until then. Yeah, that last big fight. He just was not ready for that in terms of sheer numbers. He didn't have enough mammoth tanks. And of course, getting caught by the stasis shield, there's nothing you can do about that in the immediate. You can try and go flame tanks. Oh no, that's just a buggy. He does have the operations center, so I am expecting at least one flame tank from this Black Hand boy. But we, Dune Tiger was staying fairly even with Rex, and he just wasn't able to extend the fight beyond that stasis shield, locking down some of his mammoths and the tripods swinging in. If he had been able to get more hammerheads, for example, or be able to land more EMPs and delay the tripod army, then maybe the stasis shield could have been mitigated and that fight could have gone on. But in this case, he was close until he wasn't. Is this just a one base fast tech from Dune Tiger? He's drawn a 0 on his bank account for a number of seconds there because he is spending so much cash going for the fast tech. It's been a while. I'm trying to even remember the last time I saw a one base fast tech from a Nod player. And because he was playing Black Hand, I was expecting it to be flame tanks. I was expecting it to be something that we would see more typically from Nod or from Black Hand, but no, it just wasn't. First flame tank is out. The secret tanks know that something is wrong. They may have even spotted that second MCV traveling across the map, and now they go deep enough in the base that they spot out that tier 3. No Cabal or no rocket squads coming out. Oh, that harvester almost survived, but it just didn't. An almost perfect hold there from Dune Tiger, but it just wasn't. And I'm going to assume that this is Obelisk Push City for Dune Tiger. We'll see what he actually has planned here. A couple of flame tanks could be sent around the map. He's got some scorpions, some bikes, some buggies, cabals with the charged particle beam, so it could just be mass shredder turrets and no obelisks, but well, there's the first obelisk. Let's see if it's going to be shredder turrets to go along with it. Charged particle beam shredder turrets are good as well, so it's not the worst thing to throw a couple of them onto the front line so that you have some extra DPS and can deal with some of those units. First flame tank gets caught and killed. No sneaky side attack for you, Mr. Blackhand player. And all of the forces have left the main base, so that is going to be an unprotected, harvested field. And Dev Tank is going to be going toe-to-toe with quad turrets. Double Hand of Nod drop, and it's going to be Black Disciples being upgraded as well. Dune Tiger playing an extremely unconventional game number 2 here, and it might actually be working out better for him than game number 1. A couple of rocket squads being deployed to the front line, a couple of Scorpion tanks as well, just to try and stop any of these Seeker tanks from getting real damage done. But this is a lot more Seeker tanks rolling up to the fight. This Harvester is basically offline, and there's going to be the Buzzer Swarm support power called in, but they're getting blasted by that Cabal. The Black Disciples haven't finished up, so there's no infantry killing power, and the Seeker tanks are just swarming all over these Harvesters. Dune Tiger needs the cash, and of course on the other side of the map he is managing to get a bit of damage done here or there on the latent Harvesters of Rex, transitioning from that main base over to the third on the east side of the map. And the Shredder turrets get deployed, selling off the tier 2, selling off the tier 3, and it is going to be a full tech reset for Dune Tiger. But at least he's got the Shredder turrets. At least he's got the one obelisk on the south side of the map. This is actually working out better than the last game. The Dev tanks perhaps going to be able to do a bit more on the Dune Tiger side of the map, and he did sell off his Secret Shrine. So he gets Black Disciples, then he sells off the Secret Shrine. No fun purifying flame for us. And this blue Tiberium has grown up reasonably significantly. It's not a gigantic field, but it's enough that it would be worth deploying, sending a number of Harvesters there, not deploying a refinery. I mean, you could, it would pay for itself, but that would be a bit more of an investment than you would really need. Gunwalkers coming in to defend this Devastator warship. They might be too late. The rockets from the bike got their last volley off before the bike died, so the DPS was high enough that the first Devastator warship goes down really before it can do anything at all, and the second one has been spotted out. So Devastator warships, the air artillery of the Scrin, they're able to assault those bases from so far away. It's an MCV cell, but don't worry, Dune's got more than one MCV. I guess not so much anymore, as he deploys one refinery, gets his barracks down and ready to go. And the drone platform landing in the face of these Cabal squads, so they do massive damage even without the Black Hand burning down this MCV. That buzzer being offline was a critical missed opportunity there. The time wasted will cost Rex dearly. Second buzzer hive gets deployed, but just commit to the attack. There goes the drone ship. That's one and done. Dune Tiger finds a win here in game number 2. And Rex is going to have to pull off some kind of a miracle. These Dev tanks are going to be the lifeline for the Scrin player. And Dune Tiger gets a critical kill there. He has cut Rex off from his economy. He has now removed the MCV as well, and now he has 2 tasks left. Deal with these Dev tanks. He's actually denying the blue Tiberium in the middle of the map, and he denies that capture of the blue Tiberium, but he doesn't get the kill on the Dev tanks. And Dune Tiger, if he loses a ton of units to this one-phased Gunwalker, then that's going to be bad. But as soon as the phase runs out, then that Gunwalker is going to go down. A Harvester not phased will be eliminated. An extremely awkward fight here for both players, and the gravity stabilizer still exists down in the south there, so the drone ship can be rebuilt. Dune Tiger is not safe here in game number 2. He's got the economy powered up at the natural expansion. He could even maybe sell off some of these power plants now that he doesn't need everything. He is low on cash, but he at least still has some income coming in. Devastator warships moving forward. Rocket Squad's ready to go. No EMP coils on these Raider buggies, of course, and it's all about the distance. Rex wins at distance. Oh, a SAM site deploys right on top of these Devastator warships. One volley, two, and well, volley and a half because some of those turrets get eliminated. But now the rockets can actually close in on this force. Ops Center has been rebuilt, and the double SAM site drop pushes back those Devastator warships. It's a scrappy game number 2 here for Dune Tiger. Another volley, a full volley from those SAM sites, and this Devastator warship so low on health. Finally, it goes down. Rocket Squad goes heroic. He is red and ready to die for Kane. Gunwalkers shouldn't be fighting at a distance here, but they're holding the units in place so that the Devastator warships can get some massive shots, and it's a GG. It's 1 point on the board for Dune Tiger. An amazing comeback in game number 2, the kill of the drone ship, the critical second step as the economy got choked out as the first step. Dune Tiger evens up the score and makes this a series. And after the hot desert of Atacama Road, Rex is wanting to cool things off in the blue zone. Hampstead Gardens here. It's Black Hand versus Scrin once again. We're all tied up 1-1, and it is turning into a series that I did not expect. If you said Dune Tiger was going to go for an obelisk, a one base tech obelisk push, and then it was going to work versus Rex, I would not have called that as the build that kills Rex. Late game, Rex dominates. Mid game, Dune Tiger can make it happen. Weird, scrappy games showing up strong for Dune Tiger. And that's good, because what we don't want to see is Dune Tiger, who in the Discord was confident that he would lose versus Rex, for him to show up and then just be like, oh, I'm going to lose. Rex is better than me. I can't win. And then he just gives up, does nothing and loses. But here, he shows up, he does something, and he wins. That was an insane build. And hearkening back to, 15 years ago in Kane's Wrath, there used to be a lot more nod one base fast tech. Particularly what you're going for with that is you're dumping a bunch of cash into the Tib chemical plant and getting the catalyst missile, because the range on the catalyst missile used to be so massive and it used to do more damage to harvesters that you could kill sometimes 2 refineries on your opponent, and maybe you could get lucky and you get 1, 2, or 3 harvesters as well. Maybe you follow up with a couple of bikes, and so you could play a game, super fast tech your tech, and go for that tier 4 one-click, and then end the game in a really short time. That sort of stuff has fallen out of fashion with the advent of the 1.02 Plus community patch, with all of the changes coming in over the years up to R23B, which is the version of the game that this tournament is largely played on. We did start the tournament on R23, and then we briefly had a stint, a couple of games played on R23A, and then most of the tournament will be played on R23B. Hopefully the whole rest of the tournament will be played on R23B, as Master Leaf, it seems, has figured out all of the things that were causing desyncs, all of the things that were causing problems with those earlier versions. Rex has not figured out the thing that is causing his problem, and it is early game aggression here. Dune Tiger gets the kill on 1 harvester, and you're happy to trade a couple of bikes. Is he going to get a kill on a couple of seeker tanks as well? Because then trading 1 for 1 on these seeker tanks and bikes, they're fine with that if you're the nod player. It is 3 for 3 here, and yeah, a couple more do go down, but call it a 4 for 4. Okay, maybe not. If you get the harvester as well, all your sins are forgiven. This harv is going down, and Dune Tiger brings the pain early on. He evens up that harvester count, and he does it with just a couple of bikes. That was a lot of lost bikes and buggies for Dune Tiger. but he traded almost perfectly evenly with the Seeker tanks for the first part, plus he got 2 Harvesters. So Dune Tiger is feeling good for having a great mid-game setup. Rex is certainly not down and out yet, but as the Scrin player, having to rebuild those Harvesters is never what you want to be doing when you could be going dev tanks, when you could be going towards tier 3. A little bit of low power mode here for both players. Relatively brief, I would have to hope, from both players. As, yeah, Dune Tiger and Rex are both back online, so production times resume their normal cadence. A little bit of I attack you, you attack me. Power plant doesn't go down. That would have been nice if Dune Tiger would have been able to get the catch on that power plant and fully kill it off. Dune Tiger, he sees the forces, but he decides not to head back home. He's leaving that cohort of bikes out there on the field. He's confident he can defend back at home. Yeah, I really wish he would have gone back up into the base and swung by that power plant again, just get the guaranteed kill on it. And maybe the Seeker tanks respawn, but losing 1 bike is probably all that would happen, and maybe you get it completely free. Dead power plant for your opponent, no bike losses for you. Black Hand goes for the Secret Shrine, and we can always hope that he goes for Purifying Flame, but we know in our heart of hearts that 1% chance of that. He's almost certainly not going to be going for Purifying Flame here. Oh, it's happening. I said 1%, but that means that the other 99 games are played in different universes. Our universe has Purifying Flame, and now we just hope and pray that it's a Dune Tiger win so that it's not discouraging to get Purifying Flame, but rather encouraging for Black Hand players to get the beautiful purple flame. Dune Tiger, he's gone for a lot of infantry, but can he actually close the distance, get up in the face of Rex, and punish him for that? Seeker tank swinging into the natural expansion. Dune Tiger spotted this 30 seconds ago, so he knows that it was coming. He knows that this threat is here. Seeker tanks are going to be happy to trade against these bikes now that they've got their force fields. Maybe not happy to trade against the Scorpion tanks, as 4 Scorps rock up for the defense at that natural expansion, and the forces of Dune Tiger closing in and starting to clash with the forces of Rex. These Seeker tanks are trapped in the back of the base, and maybe Dune Tiger could have pulled some of those attack bikes off a little bit sooner, let the Scorpion tanks deal with them, but it is what it is. Harvesters getting brought to the front line. 12 Harvesters for Rex, just loading up the front line of this base, and double Black Hand Flame Tank moving in as well, but they're just directly assaulting Gunwalkers and Seeker tanks. They are not sneaking along the side, finding buildings. The one thing that they're designed to kill, he's just gonna let them die out in the open. He's sending them right down the middle. It's perhaps a distraction force, but is it worth it? Go for the drone ship, go for anything, but instead they die out in the open and the main base gets sacked. Dune Tiger keeps pushing forward and Rex just taps out. Rex says, no, I can't find that. And Dune Tiger goes up 2-1. It's the qualification match, and Dune Tiger is on the cusp of going into the top 8. And it's match point here on Winter Meltdown. The man in the bottom left-hand corner playing the orange, playing the black hand, surprising and opening up 2-1 in this series. This is Dune Tiger. Meanwhile, fighting for his life in the upper bracket, hoping to not be knocked down to the 2nd seed qualifier. This is Rex. Now, of course, this is the upper bracket of Group B, so that does mean that both of these players have a chance of qualifying for this event. Whoever loses here has to play another best of 5 in the what would be the lower bracket final, but to decide who is the 2nd seed. And a little update on how that all works. Now, if you didn't see the group stage update, we are activating a 5th group in the tournament. So there was 4 groups, 8 players each, 32 players total, and then we had more and more signups. So because of the extreme speed with which we filled those first 4 groups, we decided to open up a 5th group, which has like 24 more players in it. So in total, there was 40-something players who signed up for the event, and a couple of players were able to revive from Group A, for example, to have another shot to qualify. And that means that if you take the first seed, whoever wins this series gets guaranteed money in the round of 8, and they don't have to play in the round of 12. The second seed will have to play in that round of 12. So getting your guaranteed spot here now means that you are secure and that you're going to win a little bit of money, and you are going to have that safety in knowing that you don't have to play any more matches to qualify into the top 8. Meanwhile, your opponent has 2 more best of 5s at minimum to make it into the top 8 on their hands. Expansions coming out from both players. Early to mid-game aggression has been the point of winning for Dune Tiger. The amazing aggressive build there on Atacama Road, and then the attack at the natural expansion on Hampstead Gardens, both yielding big positive results for Dune Tiger. And this is 3 bikes, so normally this wouldn't be that much of a threat, but the Seeker tank was so far away, those harvesters were so undefended, that 3 bikes and a buggy was enough to get a kill on a harvester, and he might actually escape with one of the bikes. I guess not so much with the other one. The other thing is that Dune Tiger got a perfect scout of the entire main and natural of Rex. He sees everything that there is to see. He knows the timing even of the second War Factory that he confirms with that buggy. He knows that it was refinery into War Factory, that it's not double refinery, that it's not War Factory first, that it's not Nerve Center, one base, Scrin Tech, or anything like that. He got a perfect opening here on game number 4, and he's got the perfect score to shut this series out 3-1 and upset Rex and knock him into the lower bracket. But Rex is no slouch. He took that game number 1 in a commanding fashion, but he fell down in games 2 and 3. So it's about the bounce back for Rex. One more game to send us to the ace match, and then another perfect performance to get the win in the series. Double refinery at the natural expansion, and it's going to be Hand of Nod and Secret Shrine as well. Operations Center will be the follow-up afterwards, 4.5 minutes. It's not fast, but it's not slow either. The match on the other side of the map will be the Nerve Center for Rex, who's up to 11 harvesters. This guy is going big on eco, and keep in mind he already lost a harvester, so his count would be 12, but it's 11-9 of Dune Tiger. Bikes are going to swing in, but this time there's a welcome party for them. Welcome to the dirt. You're going to be buried, and it's cold here on Winter Meltdown. One bike, one buggy will escape to tell the tale, and that's 2 low health bars on the Scrin side, but no dead units. Dune Tiger finds damage in the early game, but here, past the 5-minute mark, he just can't do it. Tier 3 is up. Flame Tank has been spotted right down the middle. I hope you got Purifying Flame. Oh, you don't? But guess that refinery is gonna survive. And the second Flame Tank, his path isn't much different. Dune Tiger is going for the Flamey Boys, but it's not working out so far. Flame Tank gets caught. Flame Tank gets surrounded. No Purifying Flame. That's another living refinery. Without that upgrade, you just need more time to do the damage. 4th Flame Tank trying to trick its way across the map, and Dune Tiger is just throwing these Flame Tanks away into nowhere. These Flame Tanks, they're not going to be able to get anything done when they just walk directly into the army. Dune Tiger going to be engaging with some Gunwalkers and some Seeker Tanks, and Purifying Flame is now done. The tripod is ready and waiting, but that's a weakened refinery that will burn down. The Flame Tank goes down as well, and his behind-the-back brother needs to head a little bit to the north and go for the Tier 3. Try to cut the Scrin off at the tech knees. Rocket squads are coming to the front line, and there's a lot of Seeker Tanks and a lot of Gunwalkers. FaZe might be ready as well for this Scrin player, which means the Gunwalkers can just walk all over and crash everything. Another Flame Tank or two sent directly to the front line to attack units, not even trying to suicide on the drone ship, not trying to do anything. I'm not sure what these Flamers are doing from Dune. He also doesn't have charged particle beams at this point, so no fancy shredder turrets, no Cabals with their upgraded armaments. As Dune Tiger and Rex meet in the middle of the map, Rex is also long-distance harvesting in the north, happy to just let a couple of these units go for that long drive, stretch their legs, and come home full of Tiberium. That's a dangerous path sometimes, but that harvester made it just fine. Really feel like there should be a better path to a refinery for some of these harvesters rather than driving right past all the beam cannons. Dune Tiger is set up in the middle of the map. Rex contesting this spot. One tripod falls. Dune Tiger, oh, FaZe, okay, activates. But Dune Tiger might be able to claim that husk. If he could have gotten both of those tripods, that would have been a huge boost to his power. Oh, he's going to kill the husk, so he doesn't even want to try and grab it. This tripod is just getting massive crushes. When you walk right into it, I guess that's what happens. These are feeding units directly into those tripod legs. And, well, the obelisk gets deployed. It might be a little bit too late. The Redeemer might also be late to the party, but Rex does back off. He's also got a small expedition force moving through the main base of Dune Tiger, and it's going to be a blink back as the Mastermind looks for some prime targets. Drone ship steps forward, another harvester goes down. Dune Tiger's economy behind this doesn't look too hot. I'm worried for his economy as his natural expansion dries up. He hasn't done anything to stop these Seeker Tanks. These are 4 harvesters here, completely undefended, and the health bars are getting low. The rockets are moving into position, and a couple more volleys will finish them off, but they don't have the time. The Seeker Tanks don't have the time to kill them off. Redeemer steps forward. He will torch this base. The Rage Gen hasn't been activated to knock the army numbers down, but Rex is just going to back away from the front line, and the Devastator warship's getting left out to dry. The Mantis is on the front line. They may not have Tib Core, but they may not need it. On the high ground goes the tripods. They might be able to pop a couple of these Mantises as they back away from the front line. The Mastermind roaming around the map looking for a target. Will he actually be able to find something like an MCV, sneak in and get a kill and capture that matters? Capture and sell off as the Rage Gen fires off. Nothing was really in range to actually be devastated. That's a stasis, and there's nothing nearby. The army moves into position, but this is the danger of Black Hand. No stealthy Redeemer on the front line, and now the entire Scrin army has formed up. It's the one-click advance for Rex. He gets a prime position to kill this Redeemer, and let's see how it goes. The EMP locks down the Redeemer immediately. The damage pours in, and that's going to be a dead, tall Nod boy on the front line. The rockets are in position, but there just isn't enough firepower. No Rage Gen, no saving it. The beam cannons do what they must, but it's just not enough, and Dune Tiger's army falls to pieces. It's 5K to 44K. Do you think you can go 10-1? Because it's not gonna happen. The GG gets called, and Dune Tiger loses game number 4. Rex evens the series up, sending us to another ace match. I don't know what it is, but it seems that Mountain Pass is the decider. It's game 5. It's the ace. And once again, we are on Mountain Pass to decide it all. In the north, playing the Black Hand. This is Dune Tiger. And in the south, playing the Traveler 59. Give it up for Rex. Rex coming through strong in that last game. It was not clean, but he was ahead and he got the wins that mattered. The early game felt even. The mid game was close enough. And then as the game went on, Rex just got further and further ahead. But that Rage Gen denial is what sealed the deal. That Redeemer, if he's able to just kind of kite away from the army, if he's able to fire off that Rage Gen as a long-range tool, you can cause some real problems for your opponent, just annoying their unit movements, causing some light damage amongst their army, and stopping them from being able to engage the way they want, just because you can't control your units for those couple of seconds. And instead, the Rage Gen that got popped off did nothing at all, and then the Stasis fired off immediately after and locked down that Redeemer. It won't happen again, and it won't happen here because Rex is playing Traveler, and instead of the Stasis Shield, they have the Slow Field. I keep expecting that it's going to be a Stasis Chamber because the portal is being kept around, and that's a curious choice here for Rex. This is also prime target for one base fast tech from Dune Tiger. I don't think he's going for that, and so in reality, these very close refinery placements aren't going to be a problem. But if this was, 10, 15 years ago, if this was another time in Kane's Wrath, then it would absolutely be a trigger for a one base fast tech, go right for the Catalyst Missile, and nuke both of those refineries in one click. Rex going for the expansion that is out to the west. That is different from what we saw in his game versus Futurama, where he went for the middle of the map expansion. He went over the ridge, and that's where he stayed. It completely threw off Futurama, and Futurama was never able to do enough damage or establish himself well in that game to fight Rex toe-to-toe. And Rex ended up winning that out in the extended fight. Gunwalker going to be going for the scout. He is going to see that there are no refineries at the natural expansion, and this is a bit of a concern. He will, I think, see... Maybe he won't see the operations center. He dies right there, so he has enough vision that he can see... Oh, he can't see. It is a one base fast tech, and let's just check the vision of Rex. There it is. So he knows that it's suspicious. He knows that there is something wrong going on because there's no refinery. We are past the 3-minute mark, and the MCV is in position, but there's no refinery at the natural expansion. Once again, Dune Tiger is out of cash. He has very little money to work with. This one base build means that you don't have that third refinery, you don't have those additional harvesters working on an additional field, and you can't get that income boost. Fast leg disintegrators on the right side. They might be spotted by these cabals. It's fast into charged particle beams, and the descents are going to spot the fast tech. They might actually be able to jump on this ops center and get the kill. This could be a little bit of a tech reset. They instead are going to go for the harvesters. Power's back online. It's quad turrets as well for the Black Hand player, and one harvester will go very low on health, but he will survive just barely there. There's the second MC. And there is also the first obelisk deploy. It worked once for Dune Tiger, and he's hoping it'll work again. There's the refinery at the natural expansion, and with charged particle beams and obelisks, Dune Tiger is hoping to assault the natural expansion of Rex and make right the game that he lost on Winter Meltdown. He's hoping to finish this one out and advance as the first seed out of Group B. There's the attempt to stop the Conyard as the Seed Tiberium comes in, but I don't think it will actually land with the effect that was intended. Shredder turrets get deployed. The obelisk is quite far forward. There are no dev tanks here. There's no artillery at all. There's nothing in the air to deal with this either. And this battle marker on the other side is just units standing in the Tiberium. It's not actually Rex pulling out a sneaky attack. He is stealing the blue Tiberium, so he doesn't have exactly one base of income. He's got a little bit of a boost, and Dune Tiger can start long distance harvesting that blue Tiberium as well. Did he get Tib Core? That's the question. He hasn't even started researching it. So these SAM sites, any Mantises, any bikes that he sends to the front line, they're not going to be as powerful as they could be. All right, one tripod is out there. Currently no obelisks because he repositioned the MCV, and he is hoping that he can find some kind of a better angle. The stasis chamber wasn't sold off. Okay, there's the Prodigy. That's what we need to keep an eye on. And of course, mind control doesn't work on most buildings, but when you're a Prodigy, it does actually work. There's the obelisk. There's the blink forward. MCV does get packed up in time. Where's the area mind control? There it is. But the Shredder turret can't get the kill in time. So the MCV unpacks, deploys, sells off, and the engineer gets sniped. But that's the end of the push, and Rex has done it. That's the critical piece of the pie that he was missing. And no buggies showed up to defend against that. It was one Shredder turret. Rex was ready for it, and Dune Tiger simply wasn't. It was going well until it wasn't. The portal being kept along this whole time, the stasis chamber being kept, all of these things leading to Rex being able to easily stop that push, and he did it with a blink forward and with the Prodigy area mind control. That's the thing, is there is a capture delay on the MCV, but when you pack up, you give the area mind control the option of getting the MCV anyways, and that is what Dune Tiger fell victim to. You're gonna face a sell-off one way or the other. His only hope would have been if he actually had buggies there to defend at that location. But it didn't happen, and now Dune Tiger is going to have to play this one out a little bit more normally. You saw he tried to go for the sneaky flame tank around the side, and now the economy of both players has been disrupted. Dune Tiger, because he cut his harvesters and his refineries to be able to make that attack happen, and Rex, because he had to sell off his natural expansion and now rebuild it. But Rex has been ahead on income pretty much every game of this series. Part of that is due to the fact that he plays Scrin, but in this case, he's just eaten up so much more than Dune Tiger. He's taken so much more Tiberium for himself, and he's actually long distance harvesting both blue fields, and the area mind, or the mind control, takes over the flame tank, and he uses it to burn down Dune Tiger's own Tib Spike. Rex is not falling for the tricks of the trade. There's the chemical plant, and these refineries might be sniped by a catalyst missile at some point, but there are so many more problems for Dune Tiger to worry about. He does have to kind of delay this game until he can get out that Redeemer, but just like with the last game, does he actually have the forces on hand to deal with this? And no Tib Core missiles means that these SAM sites don't do as much as they would. They do still get a couple of volleys off. They do still knock down one Devastator warship, but they don't get the other two. The first Epic has stepped out onto the map, and the Redeemer shouldn't be too much further behind, but it is slower. Dune Tiger's economy is slower. His Epic unit is slower, and everything else is slower as well. His army just doesn't match that of Rex. The dance of the epics usually favors the Scrin. The teleport of the Prodigy is hard to beat. The mind control of the cultists is difficult to work against. Well, when you've got a million Black Hand squads, it can work out. And it seems like Dune Tiger's approach is, if you fail, try again. Another multi-MCV play here. It didn't work last time, but maybe it will this time. Right on the front line, the Rage Gen actually kills off the Prodigy. That's what we're talking about. This is what Dune Tiger needs to establish a foothold on the front line. The first Prodigy gets sniped basically immediately, and I think it has been restarted there at the portal in the main base of Rex. The War Factory gets pummeled by those Devastator warships, and they just knock it down immediately. The Rage Gen was a good first move, but where's the follow-up? He needs to lock down this Eradicator. He needs to get guaranteed kills here, and these tripods can actually move forward for the crush. They can just walk over this whole army. If Rex wants, he could get so many of these kills, and the drone ship gets deployed. It's Shredder turrets versus buzzers, but these rockets pour the damage in, and that's going to be one dead drone. The rest of the army is here, and Dune Tiger needs to stop this force. No EMPs for this Eradicator, so he'll just stomp his way forward and try and blink back at the last possible second. The Redeemer is burning him down, but there's the teleport away, and the tripods are left on the front line. The EMP locks down the Redeemer, and the damage comes in. It's 3 tripods, but only 2 remain as the Devastator warships shell from a distance, and the Redeemer falls on the front line. Dune Tiger loses a critical piece of his army, and his ground forces fall apart. It's all gone wrong for the Tiger, and he loses game number 5 as Rex advances as the first seed out of Group B. He will be Bike Rush's equal from Group A, and Dune Tiger will fall down to the lower bracket for one more chance. And we're now on the lower bracket side of the group here with the pink GDI in the north representing the old school players. This is Firestorm. And in the south, rocking the Zocom, playing Cyan. This is Futurama. And a big warm welcome back to Alex06 as well. Thanks for coming back on the cast, man.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to co-cast with people. Makes things a little bit more interesting. Mixes things up.
And we've got some Futurama versus Firestorm action. This is, of course, the lower bracket where it is do or die for both of these players. It's still a best of 5. All group stage matches are best of 5, but because we're in the lower bracket, because these players have already lost once, this is the end of the road for one of these players. And, well, it's a double Werefield all in. What is going on? GDI versus Zocom, and Firestorm puts it all on the table with a hot, fresh 8 orcas pumped into the map.
Well, he just sold off his MCV completely unashamedly. That's pretty surprising.
You gotta hand it to him. It is bold.
Very much so.
It may or may not be smart, but it is bold.
Oh, and if you can get those 3 harvesters off, I think that'll pay off really well. Oh my God, he's going to capture that MCV.
He's certainly going to try as the first harvester goes down. No, it doesn't go down. The Pitbulls trading back and forth, and the MCV is going to go for the crush on the Engineer. Bye-bye to the Engineer, as Futurama is no jump. He wasn't born yesterday. He gets the kill on some orcas, and he keeps his harvesters alive. It's 2v1 on the harvester count.
I'm surprised he didn't at least try to get a War Factory out, but then again, you would have to time it really well.
It slows it down too much.
Yeah. So just one harvester on that field is going to be very, very punishing. He's going to be on the back foot for the rest of this game. I'm really curious.
As we like to say, it is not optimal. Which is a nice way of saying that someone has done something horrifically bad. You just say, oh, that's not optimal. That's not the optimal play there.
Yeah, it definitely isn't here. So Bloodhound support power going down here on the next to the MCV. I think he's going to try to distract them, but that's just way too many pit bulls.
As it turns out, having more harvesters is better. And that's going to be a trade of the Orcas for the Pit Bulls. APCs hoping to do some damage as well. And the veterancy of the Bloodhounds, it's a nice bonus, but so is having repair and a watchtower and reinforcements and more harvesters.
And there's the GG. Unfortunately, Firestorm was not able to keep up with that.
But I appreciate that. It's always nice to see a macro-oriented game, but it's also nice to see someone say, 4 minutes or less, one of us is going to be dead. And unfortunately for Firestorm, it was him. He was the one saying it, and also he was the one dying. So that sends us into game number 2. If at first you don't succeed, well, switch over to Scrin. And that is the methodology of this player in the north. Rocking the blue, playing Scrin, going triple portal. It's Firestorm.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our black hand player, Futurama. Rocking that teal color.
You have to give him props for having a name like Firestorm, and then all of his games are just Firestorm rushes. He's just turning everything into a Firestorm. The hallucinogenic grenades land! Oh my gosh, something we see so rarely. And that's 3 dead squads. Those are descents headed back to the warp as Firestorm brings them to the front line and loses them immediately.
Yeah, that is a lot of Disintegrators. The swarm is not stopping. He sold off his MCV, no refinery there, so he's definitely expecting to either win or lose with this rush. That's for sure.
And at first I thought that Firestorm had made a mistake. He went for the stasis chamber, but it was so that he could lock down the MCV so he could cut off the production of any additional shredder turrets. But of course, now it's back online, so the MCV is back to being a threat. Another shredder turret deploys, and these descents are going to find a target. It's a power plant, but the power's still online. Futurama has 8 units to spare, and that's it. GG gets called. Firestorm takes another loss.
That was the quickest game so far.
And it's do or die from here on out, because when it's a best of 5 and the first 2 games go by in 6 minutes, well, that's how we end up with a 2-0 lead for this player in the north. Give a cheer for the Black Hand. Give a cheer for Futurama.
And we have our contender going 0-2 right now. In the bottom left corner, Firestorm rocking the green GDI.
And he has actually built a refinery this time. Unlike the last game, where he didn't build a refinery. Now the question is, will it be like game number 1, where he built 1 refinery and then went for his crazy rush? But at the current moment, nothing crazy has happened. It's a war factory! Oh, it might be a normal game. We might have a normal game out of Firestorm and Futurama.
Interesting. Is that going to be another harvester? If it is, then I think that's safe to say we're having a... Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh. It's possible.
Seeing this.
It can happen. This one game is going to last longer than the previous 2 games combined. Just one single game, but they got a second refinery as well. Futurama must also be breathing a sigh of relief after playing 2 extremely aggressive games, or defending against 2 extremely aggressive games. Futurama, he then sends out the Buggy Scout, he sends out the Cabal Scouts, he's looking around the map, you know, is there something crazy coming? GDI doesn't have a ton of crazy rushes, but still, you got to be worried with a player like Firestorm. And then Futurama finally arrives with the Buggy inside of Firestorm's base, and he sees a completely normal base, and he's like, okay, we're actually, we're playing this one out normal.
Yeah, and right now, even like Firestorm, he's playing pretty regularly as GDI. He has the little foxhole, in his opponent's main. He's also like garrisoned the structure next to the tip spike at the top. So he's going for the long one, that's for sure.
Look at that.
Yeah, no one's getting that EMP control center just yet, though.
Well, I don't think that's too much of a surprise here. As much as we would love to see the EMP control center actually be utilized in a game, it just, as you know, doesn't happen very much. But it's refinery into a hand of Nod. So it is third refineries for both players at the natural expansions. That looks normal. And now we have a question mark for Futurama. Whatever he's building, it is building slowly. So we have seen players go for, when they play Black Hand, they go for a natural expansion and then they'll go like triple barracks and secret shrine, and they'll get a ton of rockets and their upgrades, and then they will have a big mid-game man spam punch across the map. But Futurama is not doing that currently. He goes for the second refinery on the natural expansion. It's a command post for Firestorm.
Yeah, second war factory as well here. APCs, I think he's going to try to maybe build a barracks, load up those APCs with rocket squads. On the other side, the Black Hand player seems to finally be starting to go for infantry, so also the operations center. I don't think he's gonna go for the flames though. Doesn't seem to be interested in flames just yet.
There's still plenty of game to build some flame tanks as the match progresses. Always a good time for flame tanks if you're Black Hand. AP ammo finishing up for the GDI player, and this is such a classic GDI versus Black Hand match. The only thing that isn't classic about it is Futurama has been a little bit light on the harassment. Black Hand normally is a little more in your face, a little more throw some bikes at you early game, but that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, right now he has like 1 or 2 bikes, I believe. That's what I've seen. He's going here on the right-hand corner. He's like 5 bikes actually. No, 6. Pardon me. But he's going to see that those tanks are coming in for him, and he's going to try to intercept them.
And Firestorm, he's got a couple of sonic emitters, shatterers, ready to go as well. So he defends back at home against the bike buggy harassment. And then on the other side of the map, even though he's getting eaten up by an obelisk, he does deploy some forces to the other side of the map. This harassment is going terribly. The shatterers get blasted by the obelisk, and everything will get eaten up by the shredder turrets and the rockets. So not a good attack, but a good attempt at an attack. There was an idea of an attack there that Firestorm had, and I liked that he had the idea.
And he's switching up hammerheads right now, so... But I'm not seeing any barracks on the side of Firestorm. So I'm curious what he's going to do with those hammerheads with nothing in them. Is he going to just try to harass harvesters? Just try to kill infantry?
He's going to hope that he can stop this MCV push on the right side of the map. It's a couple of shatterers here on the front line, but it's going to be obelisks getting deployed at any moment now. With the double MCV, you get the double obelisk drop as well. It's up close and personal, and the build radius expires as that MCV goes down, but Futurama has his forces ready to go, and Firestorm has the army advantage, but how much longer will that last versus the Black Hand aggression of Futurama? Back in the main base, it's going to be a pack-up of the MCV. Futurama isn't even caring if he loses this whole army at the third base of Firestorm, because Futurama is just going to keep moving forward with his game plan. Do or die doesn't matter to Future. He's just hoping to do some damage.
That is a lot of rocket squads, so unless he pulls back a little bit, he's going to lose that entire force, unfortunately.
I don't even think he cares. I think he just wants to do damage to Firestorm and keep Firestorm on that side of the map. These rockets are trading out pretty well versus all of the forces of Firestorm. Even the reinforcements getting called in here, but one of the APCs gets dead before it drops. He's dead on arrival, and the Shatterers are going to push the rest of the forces back, but the Obelisk still gets another kill. Call it 2. It is not an easy victory for Firestorm, but as you say, he does eventually push Futurama back. Oh, man.
Yeah. That was a good push.
Futurama is just making this as painful as possible.
He's already got his second MCV on the left side, trying to expand to another field. So I think Futurama can recover from this easily if he plays his hand right, his black hand right.
Oh yeah, Futurama is sitting pretty with these Tib Core bikes tearing up the main base of Firestorm. Right as the Watchtower deploys, it also goes into low power mode. And Firestorm, he's going to try and strike out onto the other side of the map. But one player is sitting easy with Tib Core bikes, and the other player is having to fight an obelisk to try and do anything. There just isn't much of a match between these two attacks. Although these Shatterers, they kill the War Factory. They're kind of outranging that obelisk there, but one of these players has a more well-rounded and upgraded army, and then the other one is mostly just relying on harvesters.
Yeah, unfortunately, Firestorm lost his main base, so right now he's going to have to try to defend that second one, but he doesn't have a lot of things to hold off against those bikes. He has 4 Shatterers that he's trying to pull back. But I think he's going to get caught off position here if he doesn't stay in his base, which he doesn't.
This is the greatest showcase of Shatterers that I've seen for quite a while. I do love the Shatterer as a unit. I wish it would get seen more in games, but unfortunately, it is currently almost the only unit that Firestorm has to put out onto the field. The bike's doing a decent job of dodging those Shatterer shots. A couple of the bikes do pay the price, but ultimately, Futurama is doing a really good job of not letting the bikes line up versus those Shatterers, and the Shatterers can kill just about an infinite number of bikes if they line up in just the right way. Pitbull's now going to be pushing forward. The upgrades finally coming online for Firestorm. He's going to be pushing into the third base of Futurama. These harvesters are largely undefended because the Pitbulls are more nimble than the rocket squads, but eventually the rocket squads will catch up, and that's 3 dead harvesters. If Firestorm can find the last bits of damage, he actually might only find 2 of the harvesters. Meanwhile, on the east side of the map, it is Harvester City because these rockets are largely unopposed. It's the same story on both sides of the map, but the watchtowers are going down a bit faster. The harvesters going down a bit faster, and there's the Marv coming out just in time. Firestorm's salvation. He may not be redeemed, but he's here to harvest all the souls of the Black Hand, and that Marv immediately goes down below half health. Another harvester gets eliminated, and the once mighty economy of Firestorm falls to pieces. The Marv will survive the first fight, but he hasn't done much more than that, and the repairs on the front line have disappeared with the fire sale of that Reclamator hub.
And that Redeemer finally goes out with a Flame and an Engineer upgrade on it. That's going to be pretty deadly against buildings. Is he going to be able to hold off against that Redeemer?
I think the answer is going to be no, but Futurama has been happy to just trade out forces. He has not been going for a typical, like, Black Hand mid-game play. He has been playing out these much more throw your forces away skirmishes and just do damage. It is the classic Black Hand War of Attrition, but it doesn't really feel like it's army v army. It is Futurama getting kills on harvesters and trading out rocket squads for it.
Yeah. Looks like he's finally lining up in front of Futurama, Firestorm's base, sorry.
Yeah, this is the last march of Futurama. He wants to go into the next round. He wants to secure his spot in the qualifying match, and he's got a couple of rounds still to go to be able to make it. Redeemer steps forward, and the Shockwave artillery could be fired off if Firestorm had the cash, but he simply doesn't. It's 3 Harvesters to 9. It is so much more of everything for Futurama, and it's 25k of army versus less than 10k, and a lot of that is inside of that Marv that is so far away from the base. It could be a base race, but this is a race between someone who's got 4 wheels and one guy who's hopping on 1 leg.
And the EMP hits that Marv really hard. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to move out of there. It's over for Firestorm as the GG gets called. The little Marv that almost could.
But really couldn't, and that will do it. Firestorm gets knocked out of Group B, and Futurama advances to face off versus Dutch Army. And that sends us to Tournament Los Angeles for game number 1 of another fresh best of 5. Once again, it's do or die here in the lower bracket. One of these players moves on to the qualifying match for the 2nd seed, and one of these players goes home. In the north, playing the black hand, playing the cyan, it's Futurama.
In the south, we have our red GDI player, Dutch Army.
Another nice GDI versus Black Hand matchup. An absolute classic in the world of Kane's Wrath. This is a matchup we have seen seemingly a million times over the years. Both strong factions, but both factions with their own distinct and unique set of strengths.
And just as recently as last matchup, when we saw Futurama go up against Firestorm just before winning that series.
For Dutch Army's sake, let's hope that it goes a little bit better for him than it went for Firestorm.
Indeed. Right now we have both of our players all standard, so looking normal so far. Both sides scouting. We have our fan favorite like Pitbull scouting out the Nod Harvesters and the Confessor Cabal.
Always happy to take a couple of shots at those Harvesters, and it's not a bike or a buggy, it's another Harvester right out of the gate. So Futurama, he gets a fast 4 Harvesters, and it does mean that, yeah, he has to jockey with this damage for a little bit longer. He has to deal with that Pitbull for a couple of extra shots, but he's chasing the Pitbull off now, and everything is fine and dandy.
Right, and we have our players both going for their first natural expansions, so both on the northern and southern side. Standard both for refineries, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot more standard play out here in the first game at the very least.
Yeah, we definitely don't have any kind of triple barracks opening or double airfield off of one refinery. Nothing like we saw in game 1 and 2 of that other series. But in this case, the scouts come out for both players. They get decent eyes on what exactly the other player is doing. Now, Dutch Army does steal the blue Tiberium from the middle of the map. He has pit bulls there to get the guaranteed return journey for that Harvester as well.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know if it's by mistake or I think he just ran out of resources in the field, but it's not quite full. It's almost a full blue Tiberium Harvester.
That's always the sign that you've gone just a little bit too early for that first load of blue Tiberium.
And we're seeing those rocket squads from Futurama's expansion start to go out. Wondering, I think he's probably going to try and hold that spike or scout that southern field, see if he can capture it. Capture the little expansion point or expand to it. But we have Dutch digging in over there. But I think he's just going to miss those rocket squads. They're going to miss each other.
Ships passing in the night, as it were. Dutch army a little bit slower on refinery number 4 over there at the natural expansion. He does have his AP ammo started up right around the 4-minute 20 mark, so it is not as late as it has been in some of the previous games. There were some games where his operations center or command center, that tier 2 tech structure, was past the 6-minute mark, and that is typically a sign that something has either gone very right because you're playing very aggressively, or very wrong because you have missed some of the typical timings. In this case, Hammerheads are out on the field, and they're going to have AP ammo before too long, so things are looking up for Dutch Army's standard game.
Yep, and we are starting to see some engagements on each side. We're starting to see those vehicles and aircraft finally out in the field. Futurama getting caught here with his Scorpion tanks. I think he's going to want to transition really quickly to something that can target against air units. Maybe add in some of those bikes or rocket squads into his compositions a little bit more. That is a lot of Hammerheads, and that's really fast. Does he have 2? Yes, he has 2 airfields.
And we have progressed into the mid-game very nicely for both players. It really has been a light on attacks kind of day. The sneaky engineer that was headed down the right side of the map actually got found out by an APC of Dutch Army. So, as you mentioned, Dutch Army was headed over here towards the 3rd base, and his Hammerheads are now doing battle with the rocket squads. A couple of bikes show up, and they're going to be able to tag those Hammerheads, knock them down. But it's just light trades on both sides of the map, as you alluded to.
Yeah, so that's... I think I saw 1 Hammerhead or 2 going down, but that's about it.
Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, it's bikes versus APCs. 2 APCs getting pounded. A 3rd one goes down as the bikes find their mark. They find their target. And Dutch Army, his forces are spread out and spread thin. But Futurama is sending 1 random harvester all the way to the south of the map. It'll get gunned down in the main base of Dutch Army. It's a weird game as we played it really cool and calm into the mid-game, and now things are starting to pop off in every corner of the map. Hammerheads going toe-to-toe with these bike buggy. Into the natural expansion they go, but it's going to be good night, and it's going to be the scout for the catalyst missile. So it's good night to the attacking forces, but it's good night to the refinery as well.
Yeah, and I don't believe, unfortunately, that he managed to take out any of the harvesters. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So that was an okay shot, but it could always have been a little bit better.
And Futurama says, I don't care about the natural expansion. It's all about the 3rd base, specifically your 3rd base, Dutch Army. I'm here to take it over. He calls in the Seed Tiberium at his own natural expansion, so that'll extend out a little bit longer. But it's Black Hand rockets onto the front line. It's SAM sites to defend against the Hammerheads. The Orca Strike comes in, and it's a big chunk of the infantry down, but it's Shredder turrets with supercharged particle beams. Well, just regular charged particle beams. They're going to be forcing away the MCV of Dutch. He abandons his 3rd base and he leaves it to the terror of the Black Hand.
Yeah, and just as the Tip Core missile upgrade goes up, those rocket squads could deal a lot of damage right now, but they're not doing much.
APCs on the right side of the map also not doing much as Dutch Army turns them around, and Dutch, realizing that he is pretty much out of cash, he is going to need a new plan for the late stages of this game.
Yeah, it's looking pretty grim right now for Dutch Army. He has an airfield, he has a war factory, and 1 MCV, and that's about it production-wise. He's going to need to want to get at least 1 expansion to catch up economically, because his money is winding down really fast. He's at about 5k right now. Futurama is at pretty much 0 right now. His income is pretty slow, but he still has the advantage here. So
there's a phrase that's sometimes used in competitive games, which is when A better team matches with a worse team, and it's do nothing and lose. That can be sometimes the pace of the game, where you play passively and then you just fall behind bit by bit. And here, Dutch Army has in many ways tried to be an active participant of this game, but nothing has worked out. So it feels like he's doing nothing and he's going to lose, but everything he's tried, it just hasn't worked out. And now the APC is moving, and at the natural expansion of Futurama, Dutch Army is getting in towards a do or die situation in this game. Everything he's tried has been rebuffed easily by the Black Hand, so maybe late into the game at the 10-minute mark he'll finally find the damage that he's looking for. It's going to be Tib Core is the answer to these hammerheads, and it's going to be Shredder Turrets the answer to the Pit Bulls. They push back Dutch Army once again, and every second that goes by is another second that Futurama has a field that Dutch Army doesn't. APCs may be able to get a kill on one Harvester, but I don't even know if they're going to get that. Everything else gets pulled back from Dutch Army. He heads back to his main base to regroup and rearm.
Right, and that attack force of the north is going to get completely eliminated, as those infantries are where simply too many. Oh, and he's going in. That's a very risky move.
MCV doesn't actually go down, though. It's going to be the power plants that are targeted instead. There's still lots of forces here that don't require electricity, so even if the lights go out, and they don't, until 2 more Shredder Turrets get deployed, there's still a lot of rockets chasing this army, so it can never stop moving. It's always got to keep moving to the next target. Gun after gun fires at power plant after power plant, and the lights go out once again in the Nod base, but it does nothing to stop all of the forces that are already on the map. Pit Bulls going down little piece by little piece, and it's a fresh SAM site onto the front line. It's Tib Core turrets that are blasting those hammerheads.
And still, they managed to flee with at least some of their life remaining.
They fly past the EMP as well, and they just don't have time to kill it off. A couple of Shatterers make their way into Futurama's third base. It's somewhat undefended. All the chaos of the game has drawn the forces away from this third. SAM sites being deployed, and the Shredder Turrets are going to buy more time against the Shatterers. The Shatterers win that fight, but the SAM sites beat the Hammerheads.
And slowly but surely, he's trying to eat away at Futurama's forces, at least his resources, but he's going to have to pull back. I think he doesn't see yet the large infantry force coming from his third base, but he's going to have to do something about that. That has to be done really quickly, because they're right at his doorstep.
Futurama's got double the army value of Dutch, and he's got double the everything of Dutch here in game number 1. It is going to be a tough hold any way you slice it. Harvesters being brought on to the front line to crush some of these infantry and to body block for the Hammerheads, but it's still not enough as the bikes show up. The main base of Dutch falls as Bleak taps out. The GG gets called, and game 1 goes to Futurama. And Dutch Army decides that it's going to be Tournament Crater, the new fancy lava-filled version of Tournament Crater that will be the battleground for game number 2. He's had his fun on Tournament Los Angeles, and now he will go to Tournament Crater. Early engineer caps of the EMPs for both players. Love to see that.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, like, it's very rare to see people go for EMPs this early in games, but it's actually really refreshing. You might see some good army upsets when it comes to vehicle fights. Maybe we will see less of them too.
And with these timing of engineers, they are both going to be on very, very similar EMP resets. So Dutch Army will be, I don't know, 10 seconds behind Futurama. And of course, that means if Futurama is ready to go, he knows that Dutch Army is just a few seconds behind him. And in this case, it will be the dance of who can kill the other player's EMP control center, who can use it more effectively. Do you get a juicy shot, catch a bunch of aircraft or something? Lots of things can happen, but what really will happen?
Both players have their timings down to a T almost. I see that the construction yard and the drone ship both land at the same time and get ready to put a refinery from the high ground position.
Perfect mirror matchup, despite the fact that they aren't actually mirrored factions.
Yeah, and actually I was wrong. He goes for the power plant first. Dutch army, that is.
Devastating. Tournament Crater Classic 3 green field map. The difference is that your third field does start zeroed out, so it grows in slowly over time, which means if you play super fast into your third base, there isn't really much to harvest. So because you do have a relatively safe slow growth blue Tiberium field in the corner, it kind of incentivizes you to play off of your 2 fields more than other maps. And Dutch Army is going to be feeling silly for this one, but he grabs the tib spike in the corner. The count, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Oof. When you make a mistake like that and you're already down 0-1 in a series, you just feel awful.
Yeah, and right now, Dutch is trying to scout, but he's already encountering resistance. So he knows he has to really build up a force of either tanks or orcas or something to get ready, because he's going to get attacked really fast.
But at least he saw what he wanted to see at the natural expansion. He was able to confirm the refinery and harvester numbers, which is a key piece of intel there for Dutch. He isn't necessarily going to be ready for these descents, which are swarming down the map. Fortunately, fortunately for Dutch, that is, Futurama is not playing Traveler, so he doesn't have fast leg descents. They are a little bit slow crossing the map, but they do get there, and the EMP control center is under threat. It will fire off at least once, and not much to hit there, but I can understand this sentiment of like, well, I'm going to lose this. I might as well use it once.
Yeah, that's one gunwalker that was down, so it's not much, but it's useful, please.
It is, technically, yes, something did happen. These gunwalkers, they're just getting caught straggling around the map. They're just doing nothing, but they will eventually, a couple of them, go down. Descents moving over to the left side of the map. They will kill the tib spike as well, so that Dutch army late grab tib spike comes back to haunt him because he gets almost nothing for it.
Yeah, at least he has the advantage here. He's put down a minefield, and those are going to walk straight into it. Luckily, he's going to pull back at least... No, he's not going to pull back. He's lost all of his disintegrators, surprisingly. It was a good defense by Dutch.
Futurama, he's done that a couple of times. He did that versus Firestorm as well, where he just goes, I don't care about these units. Like, I'm going to move them forward, and now I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm going to pay no attention to them. And he just knows that they're dead, and he's happy to just let that happen. So that's not something we see very often necessarily amongst a higher level player like Futurama, but he just decided, I am done with these units. EMP control center gets bombed out. The Firehawks find their first target.
Yeah, but not enough to take it fully down. It's already repairing itself to beyond half health, so it's a good attempt, though.
It would have been amazing if Futurama had fired off his EMP right at the Firehawks and like blasted them right before they dropped their bombs, but unfortunately it's not meant to be. Second round of bombing runs come out from the Firehawks. They do manage to kill a power plant or two in the main base. Unfortunately for Dutch Army, Futurama placed the storm column next to the tier 3 pretty darn quickly, so he never really had a shot of knocking down that tier 3.
Yeah, and Reclamator on the way for Reclamator Hub, Marv on the way from the Reclamator Hub from Dutch Army. Yeah, I think he's gonna need that Marv really quickly. Those tripods are almost ready to assault his base.
Futurama up 7 grand in total resources gathered, and for the current moment, he's putting that into a couple of different areas, mostly the tripods and a potential third base, which is actually getting bombed out. The Firehawks take a big chunk off of that drone platform as the Marv speaks its life into the world.
Yeah, luckily that drone platform was able to land safely, and he's going to go, Futurama's going to go for that third expansion. I think given his amount of resources right now, he really wants to out-econ Dutch.
Dutch, of course, has the advantage of being able to vacuum up large amounts of Tiberium via the Marv, so that's always fun. Whoa! There's a missing drone ship on the left side of the map. The Firehawks have finished their job, and now Dutch Army, well, he's done some damage, but can he stop the attack? Because guess what? Futurama's got a big army, and there's the stasis locking down the Marv and taking it out of the fight, taking the MCV offline as well, as that's a full reset essentially over here at the third base. With the stasis shield locking down these critical components, you might as well be dead in the water, because as soon as this Marv comes back online, it's going to be EMP'd. And here it goes. It gets locked down, surrounded by tripods. It's do or die for Dutch Army, but it's mostly gonna be die as the Marv falls to the lasers of the tripod. The Predators do what they can, but there's no railguns, so the damage just isn't there. And now the MCV is the next target. The sonic emitter gets off what it can, as many shots as it's got, but it's just not enough. The Marv goes down, the railguns finish up, but the MCV gets targeted, and it's a sad state for the GDI army as Dutch Army falls to pieces against Futurama. The Cyan Scrin manages to get a win in game number 2, and it's all over but the writing of the GG as Dutch Army fights out the last bitter seconds of this game.
There's the sell-off on those refineries. Once that mammoth falls, there's the GG as well.
And Dutch Army might be looking at that game wondering what even happened, because again, the first 6-7 minutes, not a lot really happened. A few skirmishes here or there, and then the tripod numbers amassed, and it was pedal to the metal, running straight over Dutch Army. And it's on to Tournament Highlands. We pretty much always see this. We talk about it every time. It's a comfort for just about everyone, and perhaps it's even a comfort for the Red Steel Talons. Dutch Army coming over here from Red Alert 3, but still loving Tournament Highlands, or at least loving it enough to choose it when his tournament life is on the line. In the lower bracket, down 0-2, and he goes to Highlands. Perhaps the more interesting thing is that he chooses Steel Talons versus the Scrin of Futurama. Not what I would have guessed. I thought he would have gone straight up GDI, you know, maybe even try to match the Scrin into Scrin, but no, he goes Steel Talons.
Yeah, I think he's going to want to rely on those Titans against his opponent's tripods and vehicle army. Steel Talons have MRTs, they have Titans, they have Wolverines. They're really good when it comes to their vehicle army, but less so when it comes to their infantry. They're lacking most of the infantry after all. Most GDI and even Zocom players would have access to.
Well, it is now going to have to be a reverse sweep for Dutch Army if he wants to keep his hopes of making it to the second seed qualifying match alive. This is Group B, and we're far enough along in the lower bracket that most of the players have already been eliminated. One player will go up against the loser of the upper bracket finals there to fight for the second seed qualification. Couple of rocket squads coming out for Dutch Army. I don't think he actually spotted anything out on the map, but he is a little bit worried about some potential attacks, or he wants to get some MRTs and go for an attack himself.
And yeah, he's already going over for his expansion. He's a little bit late in comparison to Futurama. Those MRTs are coming out, loaded up with rocket squads. He's trying to get as much as possible vision all over the map. He's got the northern blue tip field and also the expansion on Futurama's side. Futurama also being a little slow on that refinery, but finally putting it down.
MRTs tussling with Seeker tanks in the middle of the map. It's going to work out better for the MRTs. The Seekers are never going to win the fight versus the repair drones of the MRTs with the rocket squads unless something really goes wrong for the Steel Talons player. There we go. Seeker tanks getting cleaned up. I assume that's a refinery finishing up for Dutch Army. It is a little bit late, as you referenced, but he'll get it there eventually.
Yeah, and Futurama right now is starting to build disintegrators on gunwalkers. Yeah, so he's going for the same move he was in the last game. Going to try to build up an army of descents with some gunwalkers for support against the anti-infantry. But as the Steel Talon player doesn't really go for barracks usually, I don't think those gunwalkers are going to be able to do much except just defend.
Disintegrators in the south. They maybe had a sneaky opportunity to kill that harvester, but the MRTs already have warned against it. Disintegrators might just sacrifice themselves to get the kill on the Tib spike. MRTs are mostly rockets. I think only one of them actually has a rifleman inside of it, so the Disintegrators aren't going to die quickly, and they're not going to die at all because Dutch Army decides to just skip right past them and instead go for the natural expansion. There is a dev tank already and waiting for him. It is charged up with that Tiberium beam, and it's going to be a couple of mine drops to deter any follow-up from the Scrin player.
Really, really good placement on those micro on those mines actually. It was really, really smooth. I don't know if you noticed. It was really, really quick and short.
Couple of Disintegrators moving forward, couple of dev tanks and the Gunwalker as well. The Gunwalker will eat the mines. Bye-bye, Gunwalker. As it goes down, so too does the second Tib spike of Dutch Army there in the corner of the map. Command post is up and running, but APMO has not even been started by Dutch Army.
Those Wolverines just cut through those Disintegrators like a hot knife through butter.
If only they had APMO, they would cut through even like an even hotter knife. Like perhaps even a 1,000-degree knife, or exploding Disintegrators eating up the mines of the Steel Talons. These MRTs are starting to get their value. It's a shame that it's happening here in game number 3 and not a little bit earlier in the series. Dutch Army having a solid performance on Steel Talons, but he has got an uphill battle to climb.
Indeed he does. Seeing those mine micros on the MRTs is really, really impressive. If we weren't observing the match, we would not be able to tell, I think, unless we were really experienced, that those mines went down. They were like extremely fast.
Couple of tripods stepping forward to guard this harvester that's going for the blue Tiberium. Wolverines on the front line. APMO still has not even been started, and usually when it's this far into the game and it hasn't been started, it is an oversight by the player. And Dutch Army, he has 10k in the bank. What is going on with Dutch? His macro has fallen apart. It's not just slipped, he's got way more money than he needs to have on hand.
Yeah, surprisingly so. He's been doing a lot with very little in terms of army and buildings. Maybe
I mean, more than 10% of the total money he's gathered for the whole game is sitting in his bank account right now, unspent.
I'm thinking he's probably holding out for something, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I think he's starting to build up again. It's going down really fast. We're seeing a lot of mammoth tanks with railguns as well. So that's what, 6 mammoth tanks? That's a lot. But
at least he does have the railguns nicely upgraded, unlike that AP ammo. He actually starts it up right about now. EMP grenades finish up for these Grenadier squads, so that's an often critical upgrade for any GDI faction, and even more so with Steel Talons, because you have usually so many holes in your arsenal. Devastator warships, they are devastating to the GDI factions, and the Mammoth tanks forming up a front line versus these tripods on the other side. Is Dutch Army really going to commit into this attack? I'm not sure that he's going to be able to find the success that he's looking for. Mammoth trading back and forth. Oh, the reverse move, perhaps catching that Mammoth out a little bit further than he really wanted. Mammoth's trying to close in with these tripods, but for now, they're not actually able to break through the shields consistently. An Orca Strike comes in. We'll tag a couple of units there. Shields are being broken on some of these units, but not enough of them.
He's also got the tungsten AA shells upgrade, so that's those AA batteries are really gonna tear through those Devastator warships. They killed one off, and there we go. We have a power going down.
Orbital bombardment lands, but there's going to be the stasis shield on top of 5 mammoths as 2 more explode. The count goes from 4 outside the shield down to 2 outside the shield. Everything else is locked in place, and Dutch Army may, in theory, have a better army than Futurama, but in practice, it just doesn't matter. When it gets caught and killed in the middle like this, there's them back online, and 2 tripods drop in a second, but there's also a phase tripod stomping around on the front line. Fresh tripods, fresh disintegrators to the front line. Futurama wants to end this game, but not before the 10-minute mark, as the Grenadiers chew through those disintegrators, and the Mammoth tanks not able to match the sheer firepower of the Scrin player. Futurama marches forward as the army of Dutch falls to pieces. No Marv, no saving epic unit here for Dutch. It's just falling apart on the front line. The EMPs land, but there's just no damage. Watchtowers are nice, but they can't save you against all this alien firepower. Lasers win, except when they don't, but in this case, they just win.
Right now, we'd be packing that MCV if I was Dutch, but instead I'm gonna send the GG and say it was good effort. I'm out.
The closest game of the series, but a slip in macro in the middle meant that Dutch Army just didn't have the army that he needed. And if you're looking at the resources tab, you got to look at Dutch Army's cash and then drop it down by 10 grand, because that's what he was actually spending for a few moments there. A tragic finish to his tournament run, and it means Futurama advances to the lower bracket qualification match. It's the final qualification match of Group B. Round 4 of the lower bracket, and we're kicking it off on Winter Meltdown. In the north, playing the Zocom, Icy Blue. This is Futurama. The future is coming, and he's at the front of it in the south, playing the orange. This is Dune Tiger. And it's a Zocom mirror matchup. Not that anyone would believe you, but yes, you're in game 1 of the lower bracket qualification match. It's a Zocom mirror matchup. I cannot believe how much Zocom we have seen in this tournament throughout the whole thing. Some of it has been infantry focused on that Tiberium field suits upgrade, mass amounts of rifle, rockets, a couple of zone raiders mixed in there as well, and then some of it has just been almost pure APC firepower. We're gonna get a gun, we're gonna get 1,000 more of them, and we're gonna line them up and we're gonna mow you down. Different variations of Zocom, and then of course some good old-fashioned hammerhead play, but Zocom with ceramic armor and hammerheads and firehawks, that is what we typically expect to see, and we've gotten to see a little bit of that here in Chrono Clash II, of course presented by Chronosphere. We'll talk about them more in a minute, but we have a surprising amount of Zocom, and now here a Zocom mirror matchup. Futurama, an extremely powerful all factions player, loves him some GDI, plays all factions, maybe Scrin and GDI most of all. Dune Tiger, on the other hand, I feel like also leans towards the GDI side of things, not necessarily Zocom specifically, but GDI factions, mostly vanilla GDI, and yet we have found ourselves on Winter Meltdown, a pretty massive map, two very good-sized Tib fields to start with. Your natural expansion is very reasonable, but then it's always trouble going for the third. Do you try to expand early to one of the relatively safe northern and southern fields, or do you go all out, go into the middle of the map, and try to take that contested field for yourself? Refineries up at the natural expansion. It is 6 harvesters to 7, and Futurama wants to even that out. He's down a harvester for only a moment, but his pit bulls won't find a kill. At least not yet. They are going to come back in for another swing. Couple of volleys. No real damage. Watchtower gets deployed, and a couple of buildings have been taken around the map for both players. Decent scouting and map intel from the units inside of those structures. Decent amount of awareness for what is crossing the map, when, where, and what composition. But it's a pretty normal macro-oriented game so far. We'll see what this is coming up from Futurama. If it is just another refinery, and there we go. 9 harvesters for both players. Futurama perhaps a little bit behind because he went for the barracks as well. 5 more pit bulls going to be stacking up to try and break down this structure. So as far as mirror matchups go, this one is a pretty mirrored matchup. 2 Zocom players, both players getting knocked down into the lower bracket by Rex specifically, and now they're here fighting it out for a chance to make it into the round of 12, for a chance to eventually have revenge on Rex, although it would be a long road to get there, to meet back up with anyone from your group in the group stage. Couple of pit bulls circling around onto the north side of the map for Dune Tiger. He's also gone barracks. Double barracks plus an armory. Tib field suits probably already purchased for the Dooney boy. And yes, he has got some brand spanking new Tib field suits guarding his soldiers. APCs are here, but no AP ammo just yet. Is that an oversight, or it's just not come online quite yet? Either way, he's going to want to get that upgrade. With how many rockets are on the map for both players, AP ammo is going to be an essential structure, is essential upgrade. Airfield is on the way. Ceramic armor, Stratofighter, both amazing upgrades for a Zocom player. Dune Tiger forming up the front line, moving through the map. It's neck and neck in a lot of ways, but Futurama has pulled ahead on income. 5 grand up of total resources gathered. Let's see how much of that actually comes to play in this battle. First Hammerhead shows up. He's already got ceramic armor, so he's going to be able to absorb a couple of more shots. Rifleman squad's not here in heavy numbers, so it's only a couple of APCs on one side and a couple of sniper teams on both sides. It's mostly Predator tanks now here on the front line for both players, and it's just more of everything happening from Futurama, and in one fell swoop, the game feels like it is heavily swung into Futurama's favor. Dune Tiger has moved to the middle of the map. He is looking to establish his foothold here, right on the front line of this contested field. Zorka's showing up. They get a great couple of shots off, annihilate 2 tanks in just a moment there. Now it's going to be Hammerheads chasing down Pitbulls. Into the north they go. Frozen Tundra will be where they rest for all eternity. And meanwhile, the MCV about to be under threat. Zocom, Orca's coming back for another strike, another dead Predator tank. And this missile squad might be able to become a hero. That's one. And they can't get the other one, at least not just yet. They can. 2 for 1. And that rocket squad's a hero. He's got something to tell home about. The Pitbulls going after the Orcas. They get 1 on the deck, and APM will eventually finished up, so the Pitbulls will go down, but not before they get an Orca. It's always sad to lose aircraft on the deck like that, but Futurama manages to make it happen. Futurama skyrocketing up to 10 harvesters at this stage in the game. He already had an income advantage, so the longer this game goes on, his 10 harvesters are going to be paying bigger and bigger dividends. Still no refinery on the third field from Dune Tiger. No sneaky expansion to the north either for the Dooney boys. So we have a huge problem for Dune Tiger that is only going to get worse. The income disparity has grown to 15,000 credits total resources gathered. The army value has doubled now for Futurama, and even though he's losing units to the sniper teams, he's just got more of everything. Take anything on the Dune Tiger side, double it, and that's what Futurama's got. So it's going to be coming down to the army position. It's going to come down to the defenses as well. And can Dune Tiger, A, buy enough time, and B, build up his economy to match that of Futurama, because Futurama has the harvester count, although I don't know where they actually are. There we go. We got 2 of them at least transferring to the third base. There's 3 and 4. He's got lots of harvesters coming over to his fresh 2 new refineries that are here in the south. And Futurama, he's already in a commanding position, and he's about to get even further ahead. Zorka Strike comes in, and Dune Tiger manages to do some damage, but a critical mistake here. He leaves 1 Zorka out in the cold, and that rocket squad is gonna rank up just off of that. Futurama's putting the pressure on. The third base is what will be attacked at the same time. There's an attack on the backline. Aircraft going for a strike on Dune's natural expansion. Sniper teams putting in amazing work, shot after shot, tearing down the army of Futurama, but it's still a numbers game. More than double of everything for Futurama, and Dune Tiger just doesn't have the ground army to sustain. It would be nice if he had had a wall of defenses to buy time, but they just aren't there. And Futurama walks into a base without hardly a fight at all. And game number 1 feels like it's all over, but the crying. The Zorka's on the deck once again, getting tagged, this time by the APCs as the GG comes out. And Dune Tiger drops game number 1. The expected victor claims the first point. And Dune Tiger will send us to Atacama Road for game number 2. In the north, playing the Cyan and sticking with Zocom, this is Futurama. In the south, rolling the dice on random. Not what I expected, but drawing black hand. Call him Mr. Lucky. This is Dune Tiger. A heartbreakingly close series versus Rex, narrowly not advancing first out of the group stage from Group C. It would have been absolutely unbelievable if Dune Tiger had beaten Rex in that series that he was very close to actually beating Rex in, and then it would have been potentially Futurama versus Rex in the lower bracket deciding match. Well, there is no doubt here. There is no hesitation right there. At about the 90-second mark, we have the MCV cell. It's a double War Factory, Black Hand all in. 1 Harvester for Dune Tiger. Extremely thin. This is the fastest you can go. Some players go for a 2nd Harvester before the attack. In this case, Dune Tiger hasn't opted for that. It's going to be bikes and Scorps all the way. Watchtower is out. First Predator tank is down. Rockets are the response, and Futurama has to make his stand here. If he holds the attack, he wins. If he takes too many Harvesters, the game goes on. 1 down. It's 2. Dune has found the damage that he needs. That traps the Harvester. Surround on both sides. Dune will get the kill. And that's 0 Harvesters on the Zocom side to 1 Harvester on the Blackhand side. Dune Tiger, after a defeat in the macro game number 1, he goes ultra aggressive on Atacama Road. He finds the damage, and this is 4 bikes ready to pounce on another Harvester waiting just on the north side of the field. A 5th height bike shows up to join the fight. 1 buggy as well to tank the shots. Harvester half full of Tiberium. Futurama with only 2 Tiberium spikes to sustain him. His income is essentially a flat line. He's calling the Harvester back early. He doesn't want a chance getting a full load of Tiberium and sticking out around there longer. He needs more tanks. 3 Predator tanks on the front line. This is going to be so much harder for Dune Tiger to break. Dune Tiger has gone for a 2nd Harvester. Right now, his economy is not quite double that of Futurama, but the longer this goes on with Futurama on 1 Harvester, the better it will be for... Okay, GG gets called, and in under 4 minutes, Dune Tiger makes it an even game. It's anyone's call as far as who takes this series. We're off the road and into the hills. Welcome to the Badlands, as we have the slow and steady Zocom once again playing blue. This is Futurama, and we'll find out if slow and steady wins the race. The macro in game number 1 was immaculate. The defense in game number 2 was wanting. Does the tortoise beat the hare? Because going fast, going hard, and striking true, this is Dune Tiger. Playing Marked of Kane. But again, we got here the same way that we did last time. He selected random, and he ended up with Marked of Kane. What fantastic luck getting Blackhand into Zocom and now Marked of Kane into Zocom. You know your opponent's faction. They don't know yours. Now, we don't have the chat log here. Some players, as an act of goodwill, do declare what their faction selection is at the start of the game, but that is not a requirement. That is like a good faith act, because he could have gotten Zocom, he could have gotten Steel Talons, he could have ended up with Reaper 17, or maybe he would have gotten a faction like that he's a little bit less comfortable with. By the way, I do want to remind you that Chrono Clash is powered by Chronosphere. They're a fantastic sponsor to work with, and they also sponsored a Red Alert 3 event about a year and a half ago. Chrono Clash 1 was actually a Red Alert 3 event, so it's great to have them back with Command & Conquer in 2025, to have them here in Kane's Wrath with Chrono Clash 2. Matt over at Chronosphere is always great to work with, and they understand that their product, their service is not for everyone. So if you work at a tech company, if you need observability tools and services, then check out Chronosphere at chronosphere.io or QR code on the screen. They are a company that helps big businesses. So if you're a small business, I work at a small business, and we just are nowhere near the scale for something like Chronosphere. But these pit bulls, they might have their own kind of problems to worry about. It's not observability, but it is a fiery couple of rockets slamming into them. Dune Tiger gets a kill on that scouting pit bull. A couple of pit bulls show up to the natural expansion, and a couple of pit bulls get put in the dirt. Bikes coming in for a second volley. Rockets are here to go ahead and hold off this attack. Buggy's going to be gunning down those rockets, and Dune Tiger wants his revenge. He wants his shot in the playoffs. eventually perhaps to rematch with Rex. Bike's going to be pulling around to the south side, heading into the main base, looking for the undefended spot. Futurama responds. Dune Tiger has to take the long walk on the outside. Futurama has the shorter run on the inside. Harvester absorbs a volley of rockets, but it's going to be up to the Pitbulls to actually hold off these forces. Not a lot is left here from Dune Tiger in terms of health bars. He has a couple of low health bikes and a low health buggy that could be popped at seemingly any moment. Power plant gets deployed. Harvester also about half health. Second barracks gets deployed as well. Bikes taking some shots. Pitbulls trading 1 for 1. Buggy's now taking the brunt of the damage. Another Pitbull goes down. More rockets show up. 2 more buggies get gunned down. And a full load of blue Tiberium gets stolen away by Dune Tiger. Futurama maybe a little bit slow on the uptake of that blue Tiberium, misses out on that opportunity, but Futurama is still ahead in income. It's the same 5k advantage that we saw in game number 1. If things are going slow, if things are going long, if the game is stretching out, Futurama has the advantage, and that'll continue to be true if this income advantage continues to build. Tib field suits now upgraded. Futurama won the mirror matchup, but can he win the asymmetrical match versus Marked of Kane? Zocom is a powerful faction in their own right, but no juggernauts can cause problems. Rockets versus buggies. Well, this is a fight that Dune Tiger is going to enjoy as long as he's got the numbers. The Pitbulls and Predator tanks are going to try and make this a bit more of a fair fight, which means the buggies have to get out of there. Man, with Tib field suits, buggies just don't kill rockets that fast. They do kill them, but those rockets stand their ground a lot better with the Tib field suits than you would expect. And especially if you're thinking about them with no upgrades. This is going to be 1 dead Tib Spike, 2 remain on the Dune Tiger side, but that's going to be hurting his income even more. He stole that blue Tiberium, but it looks like Futurama is now doing that himself. So the load of blue Tiberium for Futurama is going to almost equal that of Dune Tiger, but now Dune Tiger is missing a Tib Spike as well. Shredder Turret gets deployed. No supercharged particle beams just yet, and again, the Tib field suits giving this army so much sustain. Once again, Futurama's army is just dwarfing that of Dune Tiger, and Futurama is like, where is the army? It's all buggies, because he was going tier 3. The obelisk gets popped, and that's going to be 1 dead Pitbull, but that's not your primary target. Predator tank goes down, buggies target down another tank, and it's going to be more tanks dead, but what doesn't shoot up? It's an obelisk, and it's down in the ground. Rocket squads just trading against the now supercharged particle beam shredder turrets, and Futurama might have to push off to live to fight another day. Stealth tanks coming out, EMP lands, Predator tanks trying to trade with these buggies, and normally that would favor the Predator tanks, but not with all of these white beams lashing across the map. It's dead Predator tanks trying to retreat. It's dead rockets trying to retreat, and that's the end of the Zocom assault. Third base. Sometimes that's what it's all about. So can the stealth tanks disrupt the economy of Futurama? Shredder turrets are going to try for the current moment. It's Predator tanks and rockets versus 1 shreddery boy, and well, the Redeemer is about to make this perhaps an unfair fight. Nothing inside it just yet. No flame weapons to hand for the Marked of Kane. And the Marv, not here yet. Halfway done, on the way, but not here yet. Once again, the income advantage has grown for Futurama. 11k income advantage, total resources gathered for the Zocom boy. No late game upgrades for these Predator tanks, and that could end up hurting him. Catalyst missile fires off, finds the refinery at the natural expansion, but the stealth tank gets blasted. The Marv steps out, and the Predator tanks are just going to town against this Redeemer. I guess you want to buy time, because why not? but I don't think they're going to win that fight. It may be a 4 or a 5v1, but the Redeemer will stomp them all. Engineer moving towards the Redeemer. Samsites coming in, predicting that Zocom Air will feature sometime in this match. Stealth Tank heads forward. That's not a fight you want to go for. You may have Tib Core, but that's not a 1v1 you can win. Hammerheads and Pitbulls on the south side of the map looking for an attack over here at the natural expansion of Dune Tiger. They pull off, waiting perhaps for a better moment. There's the stealth reveal, and these Hammerheads might just be able to tear down these Harvesters. Dune Tiger, what does he have to respond? This is a backstab that he has to stop. This is something that he cannot sustain. Down on income, one Harv down. There's a second, and it's going to be the Samsites to respond. Ceramic armor is going to give them so much more survivability versus the Tib Core missiles, but they can't last forever. Two more Hammerheads go down as the Rage Gen fires off, and the Pitbulls will fire a couple more shots before escaping from the front line. EMP ready to go. Enlightened Squad is here. There's the lockdown, but it's only once. The Marv isn't... can he chain it? He's got enough to chain. The Marv is in danger. There's a second EMP, and this is not a lot of damage, but it's enough with the EMPs. Shockwave Artillery is going to return fire, and that's the lockdown on the everything from the Nod player. Only the Spectre Artillery on the north side do avoid the Shockwave Artillery for now, but there's going to be the EMP that really matters. The Redeemer retreating from the front line, and the Orbital Bombardment will follow up. That's the money being brought to bear. This is just cash raining down upon Dune Tiger at this expansion, and it's double Mammoth Tank, triple Mammoth Tank marching forward. The Predator Tank absorbs one of the EMPs, and there's the deploy of the MCV and a Sonic Emitter right onto the front line. EMP double drop on the Mammoth Tanks, but the Redeemer is down, and Dune Tiger is out. Futurama goes up 2-1 in this best of 5. Futurama finds the win again in the long game. The more the income factors in, the bigger advantage that Futurama has. And now Dune Tiger is up against the wall. He's got to put it all on the line and make it turn around in game number 4. And that sends us to Sick City. No more mistakes left, but still rolling the dice on random. Drawing Zocom, the orange in the north. This is Dune Tiger. And in the south, switching it up to Scrin. Vanilla Scrin for the first time in this series. This is Futurama. Decides he wants to go Scrin, and this can be quite a switch up. Scrin does play differently from Zocom, and once again now the advantage of random may not be as powerful as Dune Tiger was hoping. I don't know that the buzzer has actually spotted the Rocket Harvester just yet, but Futurama is going to know pretty soon that it is Zocom. He knows that it's a GDI faction, and in just a moment I think he will be confirming that it is Zocom. There's actually the buzzer getting shot up and shut down, so he may not know exactly which GDI variant is here from Dune Tiger, but I think he's going to suspect perhaps some aggression. We're not going to get it. For now, Dune Tiger is playing very normal. I'm surprised there's no confirmation scout from Futurama. He is that confident, I guess, that he doesn't go for a second wave of scouting, but I guess he's sure that Dune Tiger isn't going to be doing anything too crazy with GDI. He's like, I've confirmed that you aren't a Nod faction and that you're not Scrin, so I'm not worried about anything that you could do in the super early game here on Sick City. It is one of the smaller maps that even exist for competitive play. Probably not the smallest, but close to it. Short walk between the two bases, and of course you do have the somewhat guaranteed blue in the corners, but because of the bridges you can have one player get completely cut off from the blue Tiberium and hurt their economy as the game goes on, which a lot of these games have been coming down to economy. Futurama has just had more of everything than Dune Tiger. Predator tanks are out, a forward war factory position, and there is no natural expansion from Dune Tiger. He is putting his foot on the gas, and Futurama is going to have to respond to that, canceling anything that's building, and I have to assume it's going to be a portal as the follow-up for Futurama. He doesn't want to risk having an expansion out in the open. He's going to just exist with the harvesters that he's got. That's why he's stealing the blue Tiberium in the corner. That is why he is going portal. He's going to have access to photon cannons as well. He went nerve center, and now the dev tank is out. This is a dangerous position for Dune Tiger. He's putting it all on the line, and he's got to make it work right here, right now. Second war factory gets deployed. The first couple of tanks going down. Descents have closed the distance, and the dev tank is putting out the damage. There's one more tank down. Only 3 remain on the front line, with 3 coming in for reinforcements. Watchtowers are deploying. There's going to be the silo. There's going to be the front line war factory as Dune Tiger brings the fight and brings the repairs to this match. It's up close and personal. It's close quarters combat between the Scrin and the GDI as Zocom is hoping to reign supreme. This sneaky engineer gets out, but it's not enough. Dune Tiger doesn't get the cap on the war factory, and that would certainly swing things into his favor, but for now, it'll just be an extended fight. Tank v tank. Dev tanks with their lasers, photon cannons versus watchtowers, and it's war factories and repairs for both players. There's the Guardian Cannon being added on. Harvesters under assault. Futurama sells off the Warp Sphere, and now it's more dev tanks onto the front line for Futurama. Icor seat as well, so he's adding in even more Tiberium to charge up these dev tanks and power up their lasers. Another harvester going down. Dune Tiger now has the harvester advantage. 5-2-3. Predator tanks continuing to pound away at this base. Upgraded power plant on the front line as well. There's the sell-off of the refinery, and this is just a scouting squad of random riflemen, but now it's a power-up on all of these dev tanks. They've got the green lasers of death, and that's 4 dead Predator tanks. Another one steps out of the war factory, and he's dead as well. The tip silo almost kind of blocking this Guardian Cannon off from being able to defend this war factory. Another tip silo to body block for this war factory. Another dead Predator tank. This is 6 dev tanks that can just burst down these Predators one at a time. There's the charge up. 5 dev tanks, but a 6th emerges, and the reinforcement path is just better for Futurama. There goes the war factory, and there goes the sustain of Dune Tiger, but he's got another. He's ready to go as the Predator tanks can't stay alive. He might have actually wanted to place that one facing the opposite direction, so the Predator tanks have a better chance at survival. Rifleman squad comes in and absorbs some of the charge from these dev tanks, but there's now 7 dev tanks on the front line. There's the portal sold off, and the fresh war factory, which is clean and tidy, is about to be just rubble on the ground. Predator tanks step forward, 2 of them go down. Dune Tiger fighting and holding on to hope, but the hope slips away. His fingers are empty as he grasps the air and falls off the cliff. There's no rope, there's no lifeline, and Dune Tiger is out, and Futurama is in. Welcome to playoffs. Futurama into the top 12. He will still have another battle ahead of him, but he has made it to playoffs, and Dune Tiger tragically falls down versus Rex, now versus Futurama. Players who were expected to be victors, but Dune Tiger put up a good fight nonetheless. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is the end of Group B. We have our qualifiers, and it's on to the rest of the tournament. This is Sybert, signing out.